Okay. Hey, everybody. Before we get started, I just want to remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Ahago Comics, Qua, and Esther Flores. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can access episodes early and lots of other goodies, and it would really help us out. Thanks for support as always, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey, so, Lucky, what's up?
What's up? I'm fucking tired and my life is falling into pieces around me.
You just
But
maybe
thank
think
God
of
for anime.
whatever that meme song is that people like. Something
Was it?
into pieces, last resort, whatever. I don't remember right now. I'm also tired. We're recording this a little bit later than usual because technical difficulties.
Yeah, by the way, the song you're thinking of is Last Resort by Papa Roach.
There it is. Everybody go look that up.
90s at its finest. Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Yeah.
That is, in fact, the exact clip that is in that big 30-minute History of Memes music compilation.
Yeah.
Which occasionally I watch, just because I want to remember pop culture, and sometimes it reminds me of songs that I actually like. Plus, it's always interesting, like, some of the classics are catchy in kind of like weird ways. Like, it's interesting that, something from 400 years ago is still relevant today.
Well, that's the interesting thing is because things that are like 400 years old, like they keep getting reinvented and reused in more modern applications. So it's something that still stays fresh and new and catchy. It's like, we play a mobile game using major historical figures and minor historical figures. And, there might be a little bit of twisting of the facts, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But no, music, like, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but my music taste has stayed pretty much the same since I moved to the Pacific Northwest. Because if people don't know, fucking grunge and the alternative scene was literally fucking born here in like the early 90s. So there is still a very big influence over here.
My musical taste is also shaped by history. My old man loves his classic rock because he was in high school in the 70s and he had a van, so I listened to loads and loads of that growing up. All varieties, stuff like from Queen to like Meatloaf, AC/DC later, stuff like that. That was his musical taste, and so that imparted onto me. And also I have this, I like to say this a lot, I don't actually have taste, I just like things. So I like lots of dumb, like, whatever we're calling electronic music these days, house, techno, trance, whatever. Just that.
I just go with like
that synthetic electronic sound. I just love it a lot, and the beats.
I just go with the fucking catch-all EDM.
Yeah, EDM.
That's electronic dance music. That is like
I don't really dance, but I love that stuff. I like the rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it was actually really great up here in the Pacific Northwest. We actually have a dedicated EDM radio station. It's run by, I think it's run by a high school in Seattle. It's like completely non-corporation. They've been surviving for like the past 15 years on donations and whatnot. Yeah,
and
so
obviously
really
because I'm a huge weeb, I have acquired a taste for music and languages I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh my god. I remember like when I was back first in high school and I got like really into the animes, like I was like, what is this music? I don't understand it, but I love it. And back then it's like being like nowadays, like you kids don't know, back in the day being that fucking nerd, it was a bit of a stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't like just like bust that shit out and be like, check this shit out.
Yeah. Now it's like a 50-50 shot whether or not people will be like, get out of my life, weeb trash, or be like, oh, you listen to J-Rock? I do too. What was your first anime, album or whatever? Because everybody remembers the first thing they went on the internet and were like, how do I get this song that's released in Japanese in Japan?
Oh my god. So don't laugh at me. But the first anime song, I actually remember this because it's something that's near and dear to my heart. But the first anime song I ever downloaded was the opening theme to the Oh My Goddess OVAs, the six episode OVAs. I can't remember the name of the song to save my fucking life. I can find it. Like,
Yeah, I'm not
pretty
familiar with that
fucking cool.
specific song, but yeah, it's okay. Let's see. What am I? Oh, it's the other way around. Let's sort that. What's the earliest music file I have created? No, okay, so it's not, because I'm pretty sure it was. Oh, okay, never mind. These are all wrong anyway. These are when they were put on this machine. Okay, never mind. It's not going to tell me anything, because I obviously have changed computers. I'm going to say it was either a Naruto opening or a Bleach opening, because some of those early openings were really good, and then for Naruto, some of those later openings were really good.
Yeah, no, trust me, there was a lot of fucking Bleach and Naruto openings I fucking had. Fucking the first Bleach opening, Asterisk.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking that was probably one of the first ones. I
definitely had that one. But there used to be actually I don't know if it's still around. There used to be back in the day, there used to be a site called Gendo where this guy would just upload.
Yes, it's Gendo.com still works.
It still works? Oh my god.
I don't know when the last time any of these were
let's see if it's
updated.
the same.
I mean, that's what I was using for years, so I'm assuming it is.
Looks like last post was 2015. That's cool.
So maybe not maintained anymore, but still, damn.
Yeah. It still looks the same, too, with the black and the blue.
Oh, yeah, this is baby's first website.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that was actually, now that I've thought about it, I'm gonna go fucking post it in our Discord with the... My first song, my first anime song download.
Also, hey, you'll be happy about this. If you go back to the very first page, the very first entry is Stalker by the Pillows from Fooly Cooly.
That, I will say, Fooly Cooly 3, the third soundtrack, was the first anime soundtrack I fully downloaded, because, Jesus fucking Christ, you can listen to every one of those songs.
Oh, yeah, it's just a great... The way they cooperated with the Pillows was just so good. It's just... Because the music is such an integral part of that series, from top to bottom, and it's just a good album.
It really is. That full soundtrack is on my phone, so I can just pop it out anywhere. It was funny though, because I was actually reading an interview with the Pillows when they did their first collab, because of course the Pillows also worked with the collab for Fooly Cooly 2 and 3. I haven't seen Fooly Cooly 3 yet. That's on my to-do list.
I haven't caught up. First of all, I haven't caught up on anything, so we're probably not going to talk about much anime this week, or at least not anything overall, because I'm being sick and stuff and out of the house, for a couple weeks. That's why you missed a week, by the way, in case you didn't watch the, I'm sure, way more popular episode of Let's Talk FGO that's about to release, where we talked about it, because it has voice in the title and the tags and the description and in the thumbnail.
But the Pillows, when they were first approached to do the soundtrack, because the director was a fan of their music, they were all like, "Oh, what the fuck ever? We'll just throw them our most recent album and we'll call it good." And it fucking worked. And they were all like, "I can't believe this fucking worked." And they fell in love.
I'm looking at this list of the anime from these early pages. This is a trip, man. This is they got stuff from Cowboy Bebop, various Dot Hacks, Gundam Wing.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits Basket, that is quite a way in the way back. It's Record of the Lunar Store, Sailor Moon.
I remember I would bring floppy disks to schools so I can use the school's computers to download stuff, because my parents were very strict with the internets at my house. I was one of those kids who had to get up at 2 a.m. in the morning, unplug the phone line, plug in the internet line, then get on the internet. I was a rebel.
The days of dial-up. Kids, do you... I can say that because our audience is fucking young. But, kids, do you remember floppy disks and dial-up modems? If not...
I'm an old man.
Yeah, I'm not... Logistically speaking, I'm not that far behind you. I just turned 26. No. I'm over a quarter of a century old.
Our generation, I think, is probably the one who experienced the most technological advancement and leaps in. I pretty want to say ever. Cause
there was a
from the mid 80s, from about 85 to about, I want to say about like the mid aughts to about like 2005, there was a fucking stupid I don't want to. I'm like,
it was an advancement because I'm trying to think. When was the last time something really new happened? Then it hasn't. Most of what we've gotten in the last like 10 years or so has been refinement. Like
it's like
smartphones are getting better, but that was I would say 2005-ish has got to be about the time when they were trying to do the first smartphones.
Because that's when like I think around when were those like?
Hold on, I'm going to Google iPhone 1.
First iPad.
iPhone first generation. So the first iPhone was released in 2007, 11 years ago. So a little after that. But yeah, that was... Tablets and smartphones, I think, were the last big leap. And then everything has just been working. Let's be real, smartwatches aren't a leap.
No.
Those aren't a real thing yet.
It's like they've been working on things like, with the Google Eyes and all that crazy stuff. But
yeah, I'm still waiting for... I've been promised augmented reality for over a decade, and...
VR
2 decades,
is,
and
let's be real.
I'm still wanting that
VR
AR.
technology. Yeah, VR technology has always been around. It's just now reaching.
When I was a kid, I watched programs which are like, and VR is the future, and it's basically a glorified Dave and Buster's. It's a guy who has to convert his whole room into like a dumb VR thing with a dumb VR headset with huge cables. And I was like, oh man, that's the coolest.
So like living through the mid 80s to the mid aughts, we got to experience this rapid like onset of technology, and just like it's kind of mind blowing to think about it. Like,
yeah, Quan just said something really important in our Patreon chat, which is something that's important to point out when talking about dial-up internet. Was yes, you literally had to choose whether or not you could use your house phone or your internet. Now most people these days don't have house phones.
Yep,
I don't have a house
phone because oh my god, you remember like having a cordless phone was a fucking thing?
Yeah, when that was a thing where you could actually get up and walk around with it.
You weren't.
It's funny. I hate phones now for phone conversations, but back in the day when it was phone or internet, that was the talking to somebody on the phone was legitimately easier than booting up like AIM or something or Yahoo Messenger, because it was like, okay, so we could hog the entire internet, or I could just talk on the phone with somebody one-on-one. Instant Messenger was you could talk to people casually while you did other stuff, like play RuneScape.
Yeah.
By the way, hey, I just got a freaking RuneScape ad on my phone the other day. I think it was earlier today, actually, where it's like, RuneScape now on mobile. I'm like, oh my god.
I refuse to let it die.
Well, hey, it's not graphically intense. I bet it works fine. RuneScape embedded a lot of ideas in me early, which was like crafting good, chop trees, cook fish, all that kind of like, all those
PvP
dumb
bad
combat systems.
That's what RuneScape interested me. It's like, oh yeah, if you go up to the north area, there's this cool place you can get cool shit. Okay, death, nothing but death.
Yeah, the old the classics of meat walls. That's a thing that's not common too much anymore. In certain types of games, they do it, but it's not a universal where you can just stroll into areas that are way too powerful for you. There's that one quest. I think it was the sword in RuneScape that burned me real bad because it has a very high level like a boss fight, and you have no idea because it's in like the first big town you can go on this quest line, and up until that fight, it's really easy to solve, and then you get there and you're like, well, shit, this is really hard.
Yep.
Only I was like 9 when I did that, so I would say, golly gee willikers, this is difficult.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. RuneScape was
speaking of things I started when I was... Well, yeah, let's continue with RuneScape stories if we got them.
Well, I was going to say is, but RuneScape was literally like baby's first MMO for me.
Yeah, because it was free.
It was that and Ragnarok. Ragnarok taught me what fucking grinding is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stick with it too long because looking as a short attention span now, he definitely had a short attention span then.
Yep. And honestly, I think just because RuneScape had so much to do, that was the only reason why it was an MMO style game that kept my attention. I don't play a lot of MMOs because I don't like a lot of the MMO like normal tropes, right? Like, oh, you gotta manage your hotbars full of abilities, and you gotta grind all this random stuff, and you need your drops, and interact with people for high-level stuff. I'm just like, yeah, but I could play something that I can make progress on for sure in a much more direct sense that's not requiring an internet connection and, you know, at least for a lot of classics in those days, like WoW and stuff, isn't sucking up more money than I make in a month. But yeah, so what I was going to say when I was saying, speaking of stuff I did when I was 9, so because obviously I just talked about my birthday past and Christmas past and all that stuff, it's a new year now. I spent some of the money I got there to get Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far on 2 discs, because I also pre-ordered KH3, which is actually coming out finally in the year of our Lord 2019. Lucky and I actually looked this up. The original Kingdom Hearts came out in 2002.
Woo, buddy.
And it has aged. Aged well, aged poorly. I don't know. It's aged. I'm about 30 hours in. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Square Enix Disney would immediately dogpile us if I turn my TV on to that, because I'm in the middle of Hollow Bastion right now. Second time. I could check the exact number, but I'm sure just those 5 seconds of background music gently filtering into my microphone would horribly destroy us.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Square Enix. It'd probably be Disney.
Probably. I bet, because I'm sure they own the rights to distribute that music, because a lot of it's based on their stuff, which is nostalgic as I'll get out. I think I said this to the live audience, but not on air, but I tweeted about it. I booted up the first disc, which is 1 through, I think it's 356/2. I think that's all on the first disc. And it starts with Dearly Beloved in the Game Select menu, and I'm like, I'm dying. And I made another tweet recently, which was arriving at Hollow Bastion. You know, the music starts playing, the original theme, and I'm just like, me, a 26-year-old man, heartbreak emoji. Because, oh my god, like, the storytelling is still good. That hasn't gone down at all. That resonates perfectly, and I remember all these big deal scenes. And I actually got to my first scene that was added for Final Mix, I think. Because there's a sequence after you rescue Kairi where Riku is in the land of darkness and he talks to a mysterious voice who has the key, and I'm like, oh, that actually is very illustrative. Thank you for adding that in later. Because now it's not like, where the heck does King Mickey come from? He just shows up in the ending normally, and you're like, oh, foreshadowing. Good. That's good storytelling.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The Final Mix version that we got was the original version they had in fucking JP. I still don't know why they said, like, nah, we're not going to do this. Because they did that with a lot of games, actually.
Well, yeah, it's funny. So, at least for a long period of time, Square Enix would do this where they would make a game in Japan, they'd release it like 6 months or whatever earlier, they would then apply bug fixes and corrections, and then they would release an international, or they'd release the US edition, which had altered stuff, and then they would release it back again in Japan a couple months later as like Final Mix, Ultimate Edition, whatever, which would have the ability to swap between English and Japanese audio usually, if it had an audio track, like a voice track, and then it would have all the new stuff they added for the international version, and they would have even more new stuff, which is what the Final Mixes were, because all the voice acting was in English because they built it off the American version, but they were like, we're not gonna scooch it back to you a third time until they re-released it, and they re-released it again. But whatever, I've got it now. I've got everything. I'm on my road to Kingdom Hearts 3. I was about to say, I think I'm like 30 hours in. Yep. But yeah, it's aged. Like I said, the storytelling's fine. Boy howdy, people in 2002 did not know how to make cameras or auto targeting or many other things. How to build interesting arenas and boss patterns. I got my ass blasted by quite a few bosses that I don't remember being hard. Riku Ansem was still hard. I remember that taking some work back in the day for little me, and it still took work. But there were other bosses, like there were a couple bosses in Atlantic. I'm like, was this always this hard, or is it just because I expect certain things now out of games? Like I said this before.
It's the latter.
Yeah, I said this before. None of the buttons are where I would think they are. Like when I want to dodge, I immediately want to hit one of the shoulder or trigger buttons. You know, when I want to attack, I want that to be like square, not X. And it's like it's just kind of like, wow, this control setup is an artifact.
Yeah. But to be fair, like back in the day, like PS2, like era, there was a like camera issues were
well, yeah, it's because nobody really knew what they were doing with like the higher poly 3D. Because thinking about it now, playing it back, I'm like, wow, Kingdom Hearts 2 was a huge leap over 1, because I remember the zones and set pieces are much larger and more detailed in that game. And it's on the same hardware. It's just the software team got a little bit more experience about what they could actually do, which is very interesting, because a lot of areas in Kingdom Hearts 1 are very, very tight, very small, very specific. Like, you go to Halloween Town, there's like half a dozen zones in the like hills or graveyards or whatever that you pop in that are like tiny. They're one room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like in 2, the equivalent of this area would be like one zone that's huge. There's a lot of like tiny rooms and stuff you go through in Hollow Bastion. Wonderland's still a bit of a trip, going through all the different stuff. That works at least because that's built like a confusing maze.
Yeah.
Also, man, I forgot how annoying Trinities are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why we don't do this mechanic anymore. Because it's kind of tedious. And it encourages you not to use guest party members. Even though those guys are really good. But yeah, no, that's my main thing. That's going to be my thing for the next forever. Slowly clawing my way through not just the games I already beat, but also the games I didn't beat. Some of the games I didn't even have a chance to own. Hi, Birth by Sleep. Kingdom Hearts is the most schizophrenic franchise. Like,
it really is.
Back in the day, you had to be a rich pants to enjoy all those games. Like,
you would have literally needed a PS2, a Game Boy Advance, not a 3DS.
Well, yes, actually a 3DS eventually.
A 3DS,
a regular
came
DS,
out between the two. Yeah,
and
regular
a PSP.
DS. Mobile. A couple games came out on mobile. A PSP. And I'm trying to think. I know there's like one more game. I'm trying to. Like no, that's it.
And I think it's because there was the original Coded, which they remade as Recoded, but still.
That was the mobile.
The original Chain of Memories was on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, they ported that up to PS2 at some point, but original
Chain of Memories. They started their trend. Because that's I don't remember what platform Recoded was originally on, but they re-released Coded.
Yeah.
As a Recoded. And lots of other stuff, which hopefully are all on these discs that I no longer need to deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying what Recoded was on. Because they re-released it as Recoded. I don't know if that's... I'm assuming that's not a sequel, that's the content again, because Chain of Memories. But anyway, yeah, it's a huge schizophrenic mess. It's scattered all over the place, and finally, Square Enix is like, okay, hopefully we're done. We're finishing it. Here's 3.
Like honestly, like this is what I keep telling people. I want as much as I love Kingdom Hearts, I want the 3rd one to be the last one. I want the story to be over. It has been literally almost 20 years in the making.
Yeah.
Like almost.
Yeah, the first one was 2002. It's 2019 when it's actually going to come out, and it's just, yeah, no. Let it be done. Let these characters resolve. I thought after 2 it was done, but apparently it wasn't.
And, I'm okay with that because, honestly, after 2, there was still some fucking plot holes.
Oh, yeah, no, 2 was set up in such a way that it was like, okay, we accomplished the thing. Everybody got back together. Everybody's hanging out on the islands. And everything is fine, except it's not fine because we have all these questions about what the heck is actually going on here. What does any of this mean? And then there was the secret ending, which was just like, what am I watching right now?
What is this Keyblade Ward? Then they got, Birth by Sleep, and then everyone was all like, oh my god!
Yeah, Birth by Sleep was like, hey, by the way, there was a meta plot the entire time, and you're like, oh my god. And now Kingdom Hearts is like, okay, let's actually put that meta plot back into the main line so that you can actually follow it. Because there's a lot of foreshadowing in 1 that's, like, really on point.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, there's no way Nomura knew what he was writing when he wrote this script.
But as I said, Kingdom Hearts 3 looks really fucking good. Like, I haven't pre-ordered it yet. I should. I should do it like right now before I forget.
Yeah.
I'll do it after I get done recording. Otherwise, I'm gonna start looking at stuff. But yeah, like I'm probably gonna pick up a story so far. I'm not gonna like a lot of people have been trying. They're doing the Kingdom Hearts grind. I'm literally gonna go read a fucking wiki before I play.
That's fair. I was like, because I never got any of the re-releases. The last time I played Kingdom Hearts was on the PS2. Technically, I played on like
See, I had 1.5 and 2.5 on the PS3, and I played those. So
I always wanted to get those, but never got around to it. Right, so now this is like here's my grand return to form. I'm finally gonna not only am I gonna cover the games I never got to cover, but I'm also gonna play the re-releases of the games that I missed. So I'm finally getting my extra content.
I do like that they do this with games when there's like so many games in an entry. It's like, all right, we're gonna bundle these all up and we're gonna give them all to you. Because they did that with the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection. They gave you like 1 through 4, and then a bunch of these smaller ones like Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, Portable Ops. They didn't give you Acid, which kind of made me sad. Like, I know some people hate on them, but I actually really enjoyed the Metal Gear Acid series. They were fun. The story made no fucking sense, but I enjoyed the mechanics. So yeah, like I do want to get the story so far eventually, just so I can like put it in my library and be like, yes, now I have all the Kingdom Hearts games. You just have like 2 cases, all the Kingdom Hearts games.
It's in this one box on 2 discs, which is freaky these days that they actually put it on 2 discs. But it's 1 disc for 1.5 to 2.5, and then 1 disc for 2.8, the final, whatever the heck we're calling that.
Oh my god.
That's the other thing that core titles were always nice and clean and focused, but Kingdom Hearts also quickly became famous for dumb spin-off titles. Like, it started with Chain of Memories, and then Birth by Sleep was a little confusing, and then there was 356 or...
350...
Is it 56?
I want to say 56.
Yeah, I think it's 56 over 2. That's how you're
2.
supposed to say that, but it was hard for people to figure out in those days, and Dream Drop Distance and all kinds of other stuff. There's one of them that's a Greek letter, which is like Chi or cross, or is Chi and cross separate? I don't know. Basically, once it left the core numbering of sequels, it got confusing.
Yeah. But people are ready. People are fucking hype. People are fucking hype.
Yeah, and you know what? After all this time, it's gonna be pretty hard to fuck up.
Yeah, well, as it can still fuck up, because like games that like, do you remember the big hype around Final Fantasy 13?
Yes, I own Final Fantasy 13. I've never beaten Final Fantasy 13
because
mostly because honestly, it's weird because the graphics were good for the time. There was a really good arrival on the PlayStation. The combat system was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Music design was okay. Sound design was okay. I just literally didn't care for like 50+% of the cast.
Nope.
I was just like, Lightning's okay. She's cool. She's a stoic badass. I understand that character as a 12-year-old boy. Sure, that's great. I love those characters. This character who's also a 12-year-old boy is really annoying. Get him out of here. This big shoot Goomba is also annoying. Get him out of here. Why does this one chick have an Australian accent? Get her out of here. But not the other chick with the Australian accent. She's hot. I love her. She was my waifu. And Saz was great.
But
that was literally half the cast. I was like, throw them in the trash.
And I'll even extend this to Final Fantasy 15 as well. Funny how we keep mentioning Square Enix titles with this, but there are like a lot of times when some games just become too big for whatever they are projecting to be, just because of the hype generated around them.
Yeah, and KH3 I think has gone through some revisions we know about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have still been... It's interesting, because they've still been working on the franchise this whole time, slowly, bit by bit.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but yeah, development hells. And honestly, you say 13 and 15, but it's important to remember that technically both those projects started at the same time.
Yeah,
and then were diverged because 13 became kind of a controversial name, even though they released 3 of them.
Yeah.
Which I also never played, even though I think, was it the last one where there's like, but there's like dress-up system, and I'm like, okay, but no, whatever. 12 was the big, 7 and 12 were the big hitters to me. I played a friend's copy of 7 back in the late PS1 era, and then I later bought my own copy to beat. And then I skipped X because it was kind of, like, in that time, hearing about games was very much limited to your own friend circle and what little bit you could look up online, and I was just like, I don't know, X is... By the time I got around to buying my own, like, PS2 games, I was like, I don't know, X is a few years old, I don't know if I like the style of it or what I'm hearing. I'll just 12 is new, I'll just jump in that. I love 12. I know a lot of people necessarily, maybe didn't like is the wrong word, but were, like, not into some of the changes it made, but I just loved it. I loved it a lot.
I still, like, 12 is still, like, honestly, like, a lot of the Final Fantasies is still on my to-beat list, because I think I've explained it before. I haven't beat, like, there are very few Final Fantasies that I have actually genuinely beat.
Well, it's because it takes forever, and then when you get to the end, you have to stop and go do all the other stuff. Yep. I don't think I ever got around, because my save got corrupted, I never got around to actually beating 12 on the PS2, because that would require beating the final boss. I did eventually get all the espers and stuff. I never got around to pulling the trigger on the final boss, I think. And I have also done the same on the re-release, but that's just because I was like, God, I'm like 10 levels too low for half these sub-quests. I need to grind. I'm like, I'll do other stuff. And I haven't got around to it yet. Someday. I'm sure, when I have free time.
Okay, so I'm thinking about, like legitimate, like, Final Fantasy titles I beat. I beat Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which was on the Super Nintendo. Like, people like to fucking trash talk the fuck out of that one. I fucking loved it. Cause, that was like, Lucky's first RPG. Let's see here. On the Game Boy, there was Final Fantasy Legends, and I played Legends 2. That was fun. I beat that. I don't know how I beat it, but I did. Let's see here. And I pretty much, like, skipped all the other Final Fantasies, because, as I said, like, Final Fantasy had a really strange release schedule over here in the US.
Yeah, because there was the first one, Final Fantasy, and then... that saved Squaresoft.
Yes, it literally did.
That's why it was called Final Fantasy, because it was like, well, our company's about to go under. This will be our last game. And then it was a huge success. And they were like, oh, okay, we'll keep making them. Ironically, actually, we didn't get... I'd have to double check it. I know that 3 was 6 for us. I mean, 6 was 3 for us, right?
I don't remember, but I want to say yes.
I think that was it. So I don't remember what Final Fantasy 2 in the US was. Whether it was like 3 or 4, but it was one of those.
I think it might have actually still been 2.
Was it actually 2? And then we just skipped a whole middle chunk.
Yeah, because
it wasn't until 7 that we actually got back on track, I think, with the actual release numbers. Yeah. Something like that.
But let's see. I've played 7, never beat it. Got close to beating it. Played 8.
7's hard. It took me forever to beat 7. Just because... God, that last one's a struggle.
Played 8, got close to beating it, never beat it. I got to the fucking castle where you lose all your commands and you have to fight bosses to get them back, and I was just like, what is this fucking shit?
I played 8 on an emulator for like 5 minutes, but my control scheme was messed up, so like menus didn't display right and stuff, and I was just like, alright, I'm done. I don't care enough about this.
9 I played, but I think I only got like halfway through the game. Which is, I think, is a shame, because I hear a lot of people like to cite like 9 as one of their favorite ones. I'm like, I'm missing out on.
Yeah, 9 is supposedly pretty good, even though it's got kind of like a departure in art style, which turned a lot of people off. But
10 I did beat. Like 10, I can like honestly say I beat. I didn't get like every like summon and like all the ultimate weapons, but I did a good chunk. I went through the final boss. I enjoyed shit. I played a fuck ton of Blitzball. Like, I tell people, if Square Enix just sat down and made a dedicated Blitzball game, if they just, like, released it as, like, a PSN game, I would fucking buy it and play it. Like, you people do not understand how much I fucking played Blitzball. Like, that's something I would do. I would come home, I would do my homework, I'd ask my mom, hey, can I play a video game? She'd give me a game. It's like, kid, I pick out Final Fantasy X, I put it in, Blitzball. I'd be in fucking Luca, Blitzball. I fucking loved it. I don't know why I loved it, but it was great. I never played Final Fantasy XI, though. That was the first online one.
Yeah. Not a lot of people did. The people who did, I think, really liked it, but obviously it was an MMO title in that time period, so it was kind of, complicated to get into. But I heard good things. Yeah. I always wanted to try it, but I never had the money.
12, I played, I owned, but I didn't get super far in it. I don't know why. I think it might have been because I was getting more games at the time than they interest me. I don't know, but I was having fun with it.
12 was still in the period of time where you you buy one game every 3 months, and that's your game for the next 3 months or whatever. So,
like,
by the way, kids, young people watching our episodes, because apparently you do, if you don't have a lot of money, that's a great way to go. Buy super long Japanese games that you can put 120 hours in.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me so much right now. I'll tell you why in a second, but
yeah, there's that.
Hecking. Oh yeah, so 13 got the first one of them. Got to the part where you get outside the sphere and there's like the world and shit. And I'm all like, cool, this is a lot of open ground. I'm bored now.
I never got that. I didn't get that far in 13. I got to. I'm trying to remember. It was the first time you have your whole cast of party members and there's a big boss fight. And it was the first boss fight that kicked my butt and I had to go grind. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll get back to it sometime. Nope. Which, by the way, especially when I was young, that was always. I felt like that was always a thing with Square style games, either with directly from Square Enix or just in that style, where there's almost always a point where the difficulty gets real on a boss. Like you cruise through leveling, just playing the story, and there's always one boss somewhere that's like, okay, you can't beat this on your own right now. You have to go grind a little bit, not necessarily a long time, but you got to grind a little bit, get up your levels, and come back later.
You see, this is like, I think that's probably the reason why I got into the habit of doing like small sets of grinding just like as I travel. Like, yeah, I could go like as I go to a field, like I would spend like, an extra like half hour just grinding like per field.
Yeah, and I think there are some games now where you like, especially where side quests are a thing, where whenever you unlock a new patch, it's always my style to immediately solve all side quests right away as soon as they show up.
Yeah.
Because while you can leave those for the end, generally they usually give you the stuff you need and the levels you need and whatever to actually play the game at a normal pace.
Yep.
And sometimes they let you get over leveled, in which case you're like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah, nice. Final Fantasy 14, I fucking love. But the thing is, it's a fucking online MMO that requires a lot of time and a lot of grinding and requires a monthly subscription, so I can't play it all the fucking time. Because I beat the main. I didn't start it originally when it was 1.0 and it was a fucking trash fire. Apparently,
that's what
the
they
game's
say.
so bad. So bad that the game developers literally decided to nuke the world and restart, like in game nuke the world. That's amazing, personally. Remember, like, Final Fantasy 14 is technically called a Realm Reborn.
Because it sucked, and they fixed it.
Yep. And it's still wildly popular. I think it was, like, number 4 on top MMOs.
Yeah, it's still a big deal.
5, 4.
Then there was 15, which we have a whole episode where we yelled at it for, like, an hour.
Yeah. I beat that one.
As far as we know, there's no 16 yet. Yeah. Hopefully Square has learned a little bit from their earlier issues and is focusing. It's like, okay, Kingdom Hearts 3. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Well, actually...
Maybe a numbered title.
Yep. Because I think I've mentioned this before, but the director of Kingdom Hearts 3, Tetsuya Nomura, has said that they're not going to be working on the Final Fantasy remake until Kingdom Hearts 3 is out the fucking gate.
Yeah. Basically, because he's the director for both games, so the way it sounded like he was phrasing it was, okay, we're in crunch time to finish this, our one game. We'll put off refreshing the remake until then. Which I'm okay with. Like, as much as I would have loved for the remake to have been timely, those many, many years I predicted when it was the 15th and then the 20th anniversary, and it still didn't release.
Heck.
I would also like it to be really good, because I really like Final Fantasy VII.
Oh my god. Like, I just want them to expand on Midgar, like, so much.
And so it sounds like what they're doing, like, and also just from the production shots, it looks great.
Yeah.
And supposedly they're going to a bit more of an action-oriented engine, which is
that's
cool.
how a lot of RPGs have been moving nowadays.
Yeah,
like, honestly,
turn-based
like
is a very, very classic thing.
Yeah. I mean, it still works in some areas, but the action RPG is definitely becoming its own in its genre.
Yeah, and I think it sounds like this is what you're about to say, but I was thinking about this. But Kingdom Hearts really, really pioneered that action RPG. I think. At least in my mind. Like, that's the first one I remember that was really like that style, and it's like, because it's got a simplified, but it's got a classical level up system with your stats and your equips and stuff, and a lot of the more RPG-ish elements are hidden in the background, but they're there. And heck, you can even argue it's actually got actual role-playing elements because you answer questions at the beginning of the game that change how you play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm trying to remember what's... I think the most hard version is keep shield, discard sword.
Mm-hmm.
Because that makes you more tanky and less damage focused. And there's also, you can also answer the questions in the second step to be like, you set out at midnight, I think is the worst?
Or dusk.
Dusk is the worst, okay.
It was like, yeah.
It's like dawn,
well,
midday,
it wasn't
dusk.
the worst, but what it did was it basically it basically set your leveling curve. Dusk would take you longer to level it would take you longer to level in the early levels, but when you got to the later levels, you wouldn't have had to. You wouldn't need as much as you would if you'd gone with the easy or medium routes.
Mm-hmm.
Like with easy, you would have like leveled real quickly in the beginning, but as you got higher in level and you started hitting like I think it was like in the 60s, you would start slowing down. Noon was just kind of even across the board, and of course Dusk was the opposite. It was hard in the beginning and easier later.
On my current playthrough, I started at midday.
Yeah.
Which seems pretty fair. It's pretty balanced. Like, some of the numbers seem large, but then you're like, oh, but then I just beat up this one Heartless, and he's worth, 10% of the way there. It's a pretty simple system.
Mm-hmm. If I remember, Kingdom Hearts stats were real simple, too. It was like...
The originals, it's you have strength, defense, HP, MP, AP. That's it. And and you have an elemental resistance, which isn't shown, but certain equips can change it.
I never. There's one thing that I have never, ever, ever fucking worried about is fucking status resist or element resist. It's like, no, I'm just gonna fucking hit you. I'm going to hit the enemy harder than they can hit me, and that's like my go-to fucking strat.
I did go out of my way to make a dark resist item for the one Riku boss fight, but that's just because I was having a problem where he was literally, because I didn't have like a second chance. I actually got second chance after completing that boss fight, so I don't know if it was like a forced pick. But I had no like last chance, and I had no like leaf bracer or anything, so he would always hit me really hard, and then before I could actually heal myself, he would hit me a second time, and I'd be like, well, I'm dead now. So I did get dark resist, like a dark ring or something, to give me like a little bit extra buffer on that zone to hopefully live, and it worked out okay. He's still rough though. The other thing was just the thing I remember about Kingdom Hearts, which is so true, is just like y'all want to talk about Dark Souls. Dark Souls is the Kingdom Hearts of dark fantasy games. I'm saying it. I'm taking it back. Because Kingdom Hearts is all about dodge rolls and pattern memorization.
Yep.
Like, it's funny, because they're both action RPGs, but yeah, Dark Souls really, I mean, like, apart from the gritty atmosphere, I feel like Dark Souls and Demon Souls and stuff really took from a lot of the classics of that early action RPG style, which we just said that Kingdom Hearts pioneered, because it's like, yeah, no, all your bosses are, you memorize the cycles, you pick the right moments to do your combo. If you over-combo or you pick the wrong moment, you will get countered. And you can die very easily, and your recovery items are limited because you have to equip items from stock, and you've only got so many slots, which go up slowly as you level. You can heal with magic, but that means you have to actually hit people to get your magic back.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these bosses
I really did enjoy the stock mechanic, because that's one of those things that always fucking... I always hated the GTA mechanic of you're carrying all the guns. All of them, all the time. I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah, that's depending on your genre of game and your style. That can be really weird and stuff. And I mean, there's some inventory systems which are stupidly limited, but there are some that it's like you have everything. I'm like, okay, that's
cool. I fear literally nothing.
All right, hold on. I ran out of bullets in this thing. Let me just switch to my other 50 million things. Now that I think. In lots of Grand Theft Auto games, what gun you have actually mattered most of the time. Yeah. It was just, do I shoot them up faster, or occasionally I get something that explodes? Sometimes they have a scopy thing, so you can shoot from farther off. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, so I like limitations in my gaming, because when you have limitations in what you can do, it makes you think to use what you have. I've talked a lot about how I like agency in my game, and I honestly feel like when you give the player too much options, that also limits agency because then it says what you choose doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, there's that, or there's also paralysis of choice, where you can give the player too much, and then it's less fun for them because they basically have to stress about what to do.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I like the inventory system. It's like, yeah, you have these items, you can put what you want in these items, but you can only like re-equip them like when you're not in battle. So
and that's the only time you can use certain items. Is in the pause menu, which that's another thing that I think as an action RPG, Kingdom Hearts does that pretty well, which is like so in fight mode, when your menu is red, you can only pause the game, which is just static pause. And then if you want to make your game actual like super hard, like a Dark Souls, there's no pause at all. When you use menus, the game doesn't stop. But in battle in Kingdom Hearts, it's like, okay, you can't access the actual menu, so you can't change anything. You can't add items, you can't use items, you can't swap your equips or anything. And then when you finish a battle, or when you're in certain zones where there's no Heartless or anything that spawn, you can actually access your menu and swap your stuff around. And it's got a classic like save point system. One of the things that really bothers me is there's not even a menu map, let alone a mini map. This was pre-mini map era.
Really?
In Kingdom Hearts 1, yeah. No, there's no mini map. And like I said, I'm pretty sure there's not a map. So, finding your way around can be a little annoying sometimes. Luckily, like I said, a lot of the zones are small, so it's not hard to figure out. But yeah,
that might be it.
The camera controls are very clunky. They fight you all the time. Switching targets is really hard. The game basically doesn't want you to touch the camera at all. It wants you to lock onto everything and switch. Mm-hmm. But that's also kind of annoying and handholdy, and I'm like, no, I will not. I will use the analog stick like a real gamer. This is 2019. So yeah, that's what I'm doing in my time. That's what I'm going to do after we finish this.
This is gaming generation 2 generations ago. This is like literally like great-grandfather level shit. No, just grandfather.
In terms of gaming, yeah.
That's crazy. The PS2 can literally go back in my day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
And heck, it's got something over the PS1 even, because the original PS1 didn't have analog sticks.
No,
it was
I remember
all
like the first game I
D-pad.
used. Like, did you ever play Ape Escape on the PS1?
No, I didn't own a PS1. The neighbor did, so we had a very limited game selection. We played Final Fantasy VII, Mega Man 8, Mega Man X4, and I don't know, some other stuff.
Like, Ape Escape was, I think, probably one of the first games over here in the United States that actually used, like, full use of the analog stick. It wasn't, you could use the analog stick or the D-pad. No, you actually needed to use the analog stick to do stuff. And it was fucking nuts.
Hey, everybody, remember 6-axis?
A
fun idea that's also kind of dumb. There were a lot of dumb. I think the first thing I got for PS3 was Heavenly Sword, which had a lot of 6-axis shenanigans because it was a tech demo, basically.
It was a fun tech demo, though.
Oh yeah, no, it was a fun beat 'em up game, smashy, stabby, flyy, shooty, and like.
Oh yeah, Heavy Rain was all about that 6-axis. Quad is right.
When was Heavy Rain released? Let me check.
Like, I really like
Heavy Rain. Nostalgia trip. It's funny. We're in a new year, but we're in the nostalgia trip. 2010 was Heavy Rain.
Like, I know a lot of people like to fucking. I can't remember the guy who directs these games, but like, I haven't played any other one besides
like
Heavy
Quantic
Rain.
Dream. David Cage, that's his name.
David Cage, yeah. But like Heavy Rain, I really fucking enjoyed. Like the reveal at the end, I was like, shit.
My understanding, because I've never actually gotten around to playing a Quantic Dream game. I know it's my B, but I feel like the basic answer is that he has a style. And some people are okay with that style, and some people are not. And the issue is, the only thing that I would say sounds like an issue is that he obviously repeats his style of storytelling a lot, which some people may or may not find interesting.
Yeah, so I'm probably not going to get beyond Two Souls. I'm not really interested in, but I still want to get Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, I know some people have had mixed reviews of that, but I've said this before. I'm a sucker for genre fiction. Mm-hmm. And Detroit is firmly in my sci-fi strike zone. So, yes. Even if
go on,
it's bad, I can laugh at it for being bad because, I read the actual I, Robot by Asimov and stuff like that.
Quan says Detroit was a pretty solid game.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've heard mixed reviews, but the people who didn't like it mostly didn't like it because it was, oh look, David Cage made another David Cage game.
Yeah, but like remember the guy who played the fucking android detective got like nominated for fucking.
He got
voice
multiple
acting.
nominations for best performance. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think
someone,
everybody
like,
has said that
brought
he's
it.
their favorite character, like because there's multiple characters. Everybody likes him the best. And I always thought that Android Detective was the coolest when they started showing those tech demos a few years ago. Which I don't know if you personally remember, Lucky, but that was the thing we were doing together at this point. Like sometimes with fans in like the last year, but also with Ron and stuff, just the last few years. And every time Detroit came up, we were like, "Oh yeah, it's this game. When's this actually coming out? Because androids and stuff looks cool."
Fuck yeah.
It's like when I see a Deus Ex trailer. Hey, guess what, guys? I'm a huge nerd, and I like sci-fi and fantasy. I'm a classic nerd. I grew up in a household with Chronicles of Narnia, and I read Lord of the Rings pretty early because they released these movies that were super rad when I was a kid, and revitalized fantasy genre fiction, and they re-released all those books. So I read all those at like age 10 because that's how much of a huge dork I was. Actually, this is, I wanted to speak a little bit about reading lately. I want to speak more about Tales of Shikanoko, which was a book series I bought by an author I really liked, Lee and Hearn. Also did Tales of the Otori, which is a Japanese-inspired fantasy novel series, which is super good, and I love it a lot. And I was reading the new edition of L5R, and in the inspirations it says, Tales of Shikanoko, also by Lee and Hearn. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And then I immediately went on Amazon and bought all 4, and I'm not sad. I haven't had time to finish them yet, though, because I've been slowly dying and very busy over the past couple weeks. But I'm about halfway through the first one, and Lucky, you probably know this experience, but audience members, if you ever had an experience when you start something for the first time, right? You start watching something, you start reading something, you start playing something, and like, it just clicks right away, and you're like, yes, I am into this. That was this book for me. And the first, I want to say, 5 pages, the main character, I assume he's the main character. It's one of those multi-viewpoint stuff, but it's named after him, so I assume he's primary. I don't remember his original name, but he later becomes called Shikanoko, the Deer's Child. But he's a young samurai class boy whose father, in the first couple pages, dies playing a game of Go with a Tengu. His mother retires to become a nun, so his uncle takes over his land. His uncle immediately betrays him and tries to kill him on a hunting incident, but a deer saves his life, and then he becomes possessed by a deer spirit, and he gets magical powers. That is literally, I think, the first chapter, and I'm like, yes! I love this book. This is the best. So I just need the free time in my life that is not consumed playing. Okay, hold on, let me see. What day is it? It's the 5th currently. So, Wednesday, the 2nd, I got my delivery from Amazon. That was the first day Amazon was delivering again after the holidays. That's when I got Kingdom Hearts. So, I've, over the course of 4 days, I have clocked in over 30 hours of that game. And it would be more hours, but yesterday we recorded for 3 fucking hours of voice. What were we doing? Why did we do that, Lucky?
Because we had 2 weeks of we had 2 weeks of content, and we had voice on.
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen?
We were dumb. Oh well, we were dead a week ago. It's fine. I'm sure people will love it. It's actually already rendered and uploaded in lo-fi form. One, because we said in the episode we actually want to ask people how they feel about watching the show in a lo-fi format, because we're really trying to in this year dial in how much work we need to put into individual products so we can make more products overall and stuff people want to watch. So that's part of it. And the other thing was just I couldn't in good conscience hand editor Lucky 3 hours of work to do. I was like, no. This will take forever. No.
And to be fair, editor Lucky might not even be able to fucking do it because Lucky's computer has been fucking dying.
Yeah, that's actually why we're recording this episode so late. Usually we record in the we've said this before, I think, but usually we record in the afternoons, somewhere between like 2 to 4 Eastern time, because that's after I eat lunch and after Lucky has a chance to eat lunch or whatever, or sometimes breakfast. Everybody's settled. We have several hours to string together. We'll go ahead and film, record. Right now, we've been going for about an hour, and it's about 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Because Lucky's computer died for a little bit there. And I was like, okay, no rush.
Yeah, so like I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but my computer just likes to shut off randomly. I'm pretty sure I haven't like fully diagnosed what the problem is. It's probably either the motherboard or the power supply. But basically, it shuts off, and I can't turn it back on. I usually could do some bit of wiggling or stuff, but I usually have to leave it alone for a little while. And I was able to like, so it was literally like, it was like a mega messaged me. It's like, all right, I'm ready to record. I'm like, cool. Let me just give me a minute here, because I was, I was away from my computer. I was doing stuff, like getting things around. I come upstairs. I sit at my computer, and it just goes. I'm like, well, fuck.
Oh shit.
So, as I said, I use like I keep Discord on my phone too for like just for occasions like this where I'm like, my computer's dead. Panic. And Omega's of course was like, no rush. So I'm like, all right, well I'm gonna give it a, because it could also be an overheating problem because one of my fans have been acting wonky too.
Yeah, fans are important. Which reminds me, I need to. So I could spin all kinds. It's been a little while. I could spin all kinds of holiday yarns if people want, though. Because I said this before. The reason why Lucky did a solo episode the last time we recorded What's Up was because I was out of town. I had to go see family, and yes, it was had to. Not that I was super averse to it, but also yes, I was. My life was threatened, so I had to go. The joys of family networking. But listen, that's fair. In my immediate family, there's 5 of us in my generation. I'm the youngest. I have 2 older sisters and 2 older brothers, and then my parents. So we went to go stay at my sister's for the holiday weekend. And there were only 4 of us there. One of my brothers still lives out of state, so it's hard for him to come down sometimes and make the time because he, like runs a business and stuff. So yeah, and he has his own kids to wrangle. But my sister has 5 kids, and my other sister has 3 with a 4th on the way. So this is why I got sick. I was stuck in a house with 9 children who were snuffly. Because one of my brothers also they have a young son now. Yeah, I'm like an uncle of many. I say it's not too bad. I have one of those, I guess, I don't know, auras, personality types, whatever we want to call it. I'm usually okay with kids, and kids are okay with me, right? Like, because, children are just trying to figure out the world. There's stuff they do that annoys everybody. But in general, I'm pretty easygoing. I'm just like, yeah, okay. No, hey, mind yourselves. You guys watch TV, watch video games, that's fine. I did it a lot as a kid. My eldest niece likes to read a lot, so that's pretty easy to resonate with. Oh, you want to go read quietly? I can totally understand that. # that's my life. But when you get enough people in a confined space, it's just kind of rowdy. And then my sister lives in the middle of nowhere, so they don't have reliable internet. So I couldn't access my phone slot properly. I didn't have any phone service either. That's how remote it was. Because I actually have a cell phone with phone service. I'm like, well, worst comes to worst, I'll try and get my data hooked up. And I'm like, oh, no signal on here. Okay. It's just a login. It's fine. Whatever. I'll deal with it. I'm an adult. And I dealt with it. But the second part of that story is, so currently 4 of her kids are staying in this house right now for a few days. All of the boys. Because it's... I was about to say her name. That's not good. It's her oldest, like I said, my niece. It's her birthday. It's a 10th. And so she's going on a cruise with her parents as a big birthday thing. So the other 4 had to stay somewhere, and it's here. So I've been in a slightly confined space just for my own safety and sanity, hanging out in my room a lot, just because it's a little bit of a ruckus up and down the halls right now. And at some point, I need some free time to vacuum and dust a little, I think. It's been a few days since I did that, because obviously I didn't do any of that stuff while I was sick. God.
Oh, yeah.
So, I got a few corners that are looking a little dusty. My carpet's starting to look a little matted. It needs to get vacuumed. There's probably some crumbs and stuff in it. Life. Life.
You see, I am a child magnet. I don't know fucking why, but kids just fucking love me.
I don't know, it's a thing. It's weird, right? There are those people, right? There are people who are, quote-unquote, good with kids. There are people who are liked by animals. It's just some, like, it's what I said, like, I don't know if it's like an aura or something. It's just like, there are people who attract the attention of other entities, and people just like them.
Yeah, growing up, I think I started putting my foot down on me watching other people's kids in my mid-20s. Because everyone would constantly ask me, hey, you mind watching my kids? They really love you. And of course, they really did fucking love me. And so it's true. I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. We hang out, we'll do stuff, we'll cook something, we'll play games, we'll watch TV. It's like I was an uncle to so many fucking kids, like, growing up. It was fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh
yeah,
my God.
Luckily I managed to. We live far enough apart that I managed to get out a lot of that, but because I'm the youngest by quite a bit, you know, a decent chunk of years over my siblings. When a lot of these kids were born, I was still, you know, in my like early to mid teens for at least a few of them. So I managed to quietly develop the habit of, no, I don't want to deal with children, and so I never got stuck with a lot of that.
My little brothers, when I was in teens, I had to take care of them too.
No, yeah.
Rip me.
But it's like, no, that's there are grandparents here. That's not my responsibility. Obviously, if the kid's gonna take a header into a lake or something, I'll stop it. You know, I'll make sure they don't get eaten by hostile animals or something. But other stuff, no, hey, whoa, that's not my responsibility.
I remember when I went to a fucking pirate event, and they had this camp set up where you can just chill out by the fire. And I was just hanging out there.
The way you phrased that is amazing to me. What? So I went to a pirate event. I'm like, yes, do go on.
Well, that's one of the things around here is a lot of people like to dress up as pirates, go to giant campgrounds, and fucking party a lot. Usually,
Rad.
And it really is. But like there's usually like different age groups. Like some are like kid friendly, some are not. This is one of the kid friendly ones. And so a lot of people have brought their kids and whatnot, and I'm chilling. I'm in my fucking dragon onesie because I like to go around saying I'm the fucking dragon. You have to actually use a W with it. And I had my 3DS with me, so this is me. I'm wearing big ol' fuck off boots, like propped up on like next to a fire in this dragon onesie, playing a 3DS. And if you come around, you'll see that there are 3 kids like sitting right next to me, watching me play this game while I talk to them. And people are just like, how are you so good with kids? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Maybe they're just watching the screen. Maybe it's because I'm a dragon. I don't fucking know.
I think there's a it comes from a certain amount of respect for kids. I don't think it's bragging to say that I was a smart kid. I understood a lot of stuff that people did not necessarily think I did as a kid. And I always, it's one of, stuff that happens when you're a kid sticks with you, okay? That's the truth of the world. Mm-hmm. That is literally, they're called your formative years for a reason. It's because you're forming things. So, I always remember the deep cuts of my life when people talked down to me or dismissed me because I was a kid. And I try not to be that way with children now because it sucks.
It's like, honestly, like, I can't, like, I don't want kids. Like, honestly, I've taken care of so many kids, and I'm fine with taking care of other people's kids. I don't need kids of my own. Like, it's like, no, I'm done. I've already told my parents, they're like, all right, we're going to be sad about this, but you do you. But as I said, because just as I am right now, kids fucking love me, so I'm just like, whatever. I'll just adopt someone else's kid, I guess. Which I find is kind of hilarious because in our Discord and on the internet in general, I present myself as an unashamed anime lolicon. And I feel like some people would get actually kind of worried about me, about how much time I actually spend with kids.
Probably, but that's I don't know, that's just part of the affectation, right? Like, yeah, we play characters a little bit on the internet.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's funny. But we're funny people.
I hope I'm funny.
Well, I mean, this video's tagged as entertainment, so I hope to God
Eh.
it's entertaining.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Kids are alright, but as like I tell everyone, I can't handle kids on a 24/7 basis. Like, I just can't. It's like half a day at best. And then I gotta be like, nope, me time. Fuck off. I won't tell a kid to fuck off. I'm like, I gotta go do something. Yeah.
I think I said that before. That is a definition of introvert versus extrovert. I like extroverts are recharged by interacting with people. Introverts are drained by interacting with people. That's even though I've scored as both an introvert and extrovert on different times in my life, taking that Myers-Briggs type test.
Well, actually, from what I understood, extrovert, like, it's not necessarily that introverts need time away from, like, are drained from being in a social interaction. It's that they can't relax when they're in a social interaction.
Yeah, that's also that's a different way to put it. But I think the idea is fundamentally the same. It's like, to me, when I interact with other people for an extended period of times, or especially large groups of people, it is not relaxing to me. It does not energize me in any way.
Yeah.
And so I have to leave and go and be by myself or be in a smaller context so I can relax.
Yeah, there's nothing saying that introverts don't like being social. It's just the fact that they can't maintain being social for long periods of time. And I think that's one of those things I think people misunderstand about being introverted.
Yeah.
And it's like, I go out and, as I said, I go out to fucking parties where I drink and hit on ladies and, you know, get mocked by children, and I have a fucking blast of a time. But at the same time, I have to go once in a while, like, fuck off into the woods and be like, oh my god.
Hey man, you gotta find your zen.
Mm-hmm. Then I go back to it. But yeah, because I'm totally a fucking introvert. It's like, I like my room. My room is fucking baller. It's got, like, fucking anime swag for Dame. And I'm like, people come in and it's like, what is all this nerd shit? I'll be like, fuck yeah, this is nerd shit.
Oh, how the tables have turned in our lives. When I was a kid, like elementary age, if you liked math or reading, you were a huge dork and nobody liked you. And
I was super into reading, but you know what? I read so much that people didn't like I just didn't care about what other people said.
Oh yeah, no. Like, yeah. I mean, hopefully, people out there, if you're still young, or even if you're not young, if you're of our age, hopefully you did not put aside those things you enjoyed as a child just because people told you to.
Oh my god, that's one thing that like really made me sad. Because I will always fucking remember this. Back in the 5th grade, I was told that I shouldn't become an artist because it would get me nowhere in life.
Yeah, no. That's
and that's what, like, because I was like super into drawing. Like, I was drawing all the fucking time because that was the thing that I would do when I got home. I would either like go to the library, get a bunch of books, read, or I draw. And when I was in the 5th grade, like my teacher was like, yeah, art's really good, but like you got to think about the future. I'm like, I'm in fucking, like, now I can be like, I was in the fucking 5th grade. Why are you telling me this? And then I realized
that is the wrong lesson.
Yeah, but then I realized it took me a while, like, until I know that public schooling is actually a very, very horrible corporate machine in its own right, and they just
it's a system where we required the idea that society has to take care and educate our children, and it's their social responsibility, but there's too many people and they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
So they try and make a system that works for everybody, and it doesn't.
Nope.
I was already homeschooled at that point, but I remember there was a lot of concern back in the day over, like, No Child Left Behind and how much of a pain in the butt that was.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't actually help people not get left behind, and it totally diverted resources from gifted kids. I remember, it's funny what kids think about it. Remember, I guess this would have been the 2004 election, but all of my friends who went to public school wanted John Kerry to win because they figured he would do stuff to help schools. Not that I know that he would have, but that was what these were, you know, like 9 and 10-year-old kids or whatever, or 10 and 11, and like they were thinking about this shit in their lives, and that's how they wanted politics to go, and they didn't.
Nope.
But yeah, like, wow.
Yeah, but like, and I wasn't able to like start pick up the pen to draw again until I was like into my mid-20s, and I'm still struggling with it now, just because it's really hard to start new things when you're an adult, just because like responsibilities are crushing, especially if you're a wage slave like I am or was. I'm technically jobless at the moment. I'm working on that. But
Hey, everybody, support us on Patreon so Lucky doesn't starve to death.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just so hard because as much as I like drawing, it's something that is hard for me to do because it's hard for me to focus on. It is not my ADD focus point. That's literally video games and reading. It became video games and reading because guess what? Art got cut out of my fucking life really fucking early and in my formative years.
Yep. And also, by the way, your teacher was fucking wrong. There's totally a future in art.
There is a future art. There's a fucking huge art. Like,
heck,
oh my god.
I mean, I'd have to check what kind of numbers they do, but I was always amazed at artists doing commissions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know what prices are good because I haven't tried to, like, shop around for art of anything.
Oh no, I have, but here's the thing. I can understand why they said that then, because this was pre-internet, before internet commissions were a fucking thing.
Right. And also before, probably, let's see, what year is 5th grade? By the way, I left public school around 3rd grade, so I have no context for what those years are.
Yeah, so it's like still like fucking like 90s, because as I said, I was getting into anime at that time,
right,
and all that stuff, and that's what I was trying to draw and mimic and stuff.
Yeah, so this is, yeah, I guess it really is pre-internet culture was what got you, because that totally turned around. Like,
yep.
Stylized art is a thing. Animation, whether it's digital drawn or hand drawn, is like a huge point. Video games got a lot more artistically complex over the next couple of decades. So concept artists and like technical artists are a huge thing.
Yeah. Like video games and anime has like literally pushed like that kind of art into something that is literally you can have an at-home business and have a sustainable income on.
That and the digital revolution did so much for us creatives, because that's what we are. We're creative types.
So I'm still struggling.
I've joked that I'm secretly a workaholic, but only for stuff I like. Because I will totally be like I put dinner off for hours yesterday. Well, because you were recording the show and I was really into it and I loved it and I wanted the discussion. So it was like, no, I don't need to eat. It's not a big deal. I hung around for like 10 minutes after the show ended, even though I said, I need to go eat. But I still hung around because, to me, doing this kind of stuff doesn't feel like work. And I got some of that in school with some projects were really entertaining and fun to do. Others were not. Others were totally work. Which I developed a different sort of work ethic for. There's a kind of zen to essay writing where you think about all your stuff and you get all your research done and then you just zone out and you're like, okay, I've written a couple paragraphs. We're good now. Which is different from a lot of our other, but that's like when I'm working on like a video project I'm interested in, I don't feel time go by. It's like building up to getting ready to do something. There's a little bit of like, okay, this is gonna be tedious. I'm tired. I don't want to like half-ass this. But once I get going, I'm like, yes, I'm into it. I want to do it. We're gonna keep working even if I have to like have problems or frustrations or work on assets, whatever. And I love doing it. Dropped something.
Yeah, but guys, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you like, even if you're an adult and there's something you want to fucking do it. Like, yeah, you might start out late. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people better than you, but guess what? You like whatever you create, that's gonna be you.
Listen,
because there's something there that really, 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 really gets under my skin. It's when someone says, no, I can't do this. It's like, and they just start listing like reasons for it. I'm like all these reasons are like really superficial. It's like the only thing that keeps someone from doing something is yourself.
Right.
Like,
I'm trying to relax in
was
my
that
chair, but I can't. Oh, okay. Fuck it. I'm just gonna sit back up. All right. I tried to relax, but it doesn't work.
Nope.
But no, what I was saying was, like, it's interesting the way our culture has evolved, but they were not wrong when they told you could do whatever you want and you could be whoever you could be. That's technically still true. You just have to actually work at it. It's not a magic feather kind of situation, right? Like,
Yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that our age of convenience has kind of ruined in a lot of mindsets.
yeah,
Is a
and
lot of
also
people
I think, like, there was a certain amount of social pressure for, but what you should want to be is become like a tech worker or a doctor or a lawyer or a CEO or something, right? Like, there's so much pressure to go to college and so much pressure to fall into certain high-valued, like, knowledge-working fields. There's not a lot of, like...
There's a lot of pressure to become a fucking cog in a machine. Let's not fucking mince words here.
Yeah. To just join the system and stick to it. And yes, you can live a comfortable and healthy lifestyle doing that, but that's not for everybody.
Nope.
Other people have personalities and mindsets and experience and talents for different things. And if you nurture those talents and experience, you can in fact do that thing that you were good at or you like to do. Honestly, there are people who make careers out of being bad at things these days even.
Yep. And yeah, if you like, maybe you're not so great at it, or maybe you have something like some disability that like keeps you from doing as great as you can, just that means you just got to work that much harder to get it done. It's like, it's nothing, like, it is not impossible.
That's really not
can
impossible. There are people with robot legs running marathons and all kinds of astonishing stories of our life. Humans can in fact do almost anything they set their mind to. Did you know we went to space?
Yeah.
In fact, there are people, human beings, in space right now, where literally everything is trying to kill them.
That is something that was literally something that wasn't even like thought of like 100 years ago.
Or if it was thought of, it was in speculative fiction, which is like, we have no idea what's going on here. We have no idea how you would actually accomplish this.
Yeah. And some guy one day said, I want to get there.
And like,
fucking
no,
did it.
We're actually going to space. And that guy was a Nazi. No. Though we did steal a lot of Nazi rocket guys and put them in the space program. But hey, that's just sometimes how life works.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, yeah, I'm talking like here I am. I gave up being an artist in my 5th grade, and I had a shitty life for the next fucking 2 decades. And it's like, no, I'm gonna fucking, here I am in my mid-20s. I am not a handsome dude. I'm not going anywhere in life. But you know what? I'm gonna fucking try and do shit that I actually want to enjoy, which is drawing, play video games, and collect a whole bunch of nerd shit. Here I am at 31. Yeah, here I am 31. I am on a YouTube channel that has 1,400 subscribers. I have a bunch of anime swag in my room. I did have a job and was having a perfectly functional lifestyle, but, you know, bumps in the road. But I haven't given up yet. I'm going to find another job because I got to
and actually, by the way, you're right. We are currently at 1401 subs.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I got to keep lording over Omega how much more disposable income I have than him. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But
though honestly, I'm weird about money.
Yeah.
It's just how I was. My parents were very sensible. They gave me an allowance. They only got me presents at, well, for me, because my birthday's right around Christmas time. It was basically the one time a year. And eventually I got enough of an eclectic taste that relatives and stuff started just getting me gift cards anyway. Which is, I know some people feel they're impersonal, but honestly, especially in these days,
give me an Amazon gift card any day. I'll be fucking glad.
It's great, that I want because you get to personalize it. You get to say, okay, here's what I want to put this towards.
Yeah.
Not that I'm at a point in my life where if I got like socks or underwear, I wouldn't be upset because I need some of those. And
I was actually talking about this earlier. When you were a kid, socks and underwear was the fucking worst. When you're an adult, you're like, fuck yes.
You're like, yes, I don't have to buy more clothes for me.
This is
maybe
amazing.
I can throw out some really clothes.
Well, you probably don't have. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you probably don't have this problem down in Florida, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, you get some like warm, fuzzy socks. You're like, yes.
Oh no. It still gets freaking cold down here. Like it'll drop below freezing a couple times a year, and just conditioning and transition is a pain in the butt. Like if it's 80 degrees one week and it's 60 degrees the next week, or 50 degrees, even if that's not quote unquote cold, that's a huge swing. It feels cold. Your body is like, what is going on here? I am dying. Please put on more layers. And I have all kinds of layers. I own a couple different hoodies. I own a shockingly, to me anyway, butch like flannel button-up shirt with long sleeves. which I usually wear to go outside, but it's nice and warm. Get some layers on. I got like long sleeve shirts. I got some caps. I got a scarf in here somewhere. It comes from a long history of the fact that, like I said, I have relatives in all over the place, like in Indiana. That's where my grandparents live, or some other people in my family live. So, not often, but every handful of years, we would go up in the winter when it was cold and snowed. And on the one hand, young me was like, oh, snow is cool. On the other hand, I was like, oh god, snow is cold. I don't like this. So I've always had a decent package of winter clothing. But yeah, no, like, socks are for me because I try not to. I don't wear stuff on my feet a lot. I'm mostly barefoot. I've always had nice thick calluses on my feet, so I'll just walk whatever. Go get the mail. I'll walk on bare asphalt down the driveway. In the 80-degree heat, whatever. My feet will be fine. They've been fine for over a quarter of a century. They'll be fine today. But when it does get cold, occasionally you want to put on socks. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's about some way I walk. Maybe it's just the quality of socks I have. But after like a couple weeks of that, I almost always develop a hole or a thin patch in my socks, and I'm like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, now I'm just going to have to deal with holy socks for like a year. And people complain about it too. Like my mother will see, why do you have so many holes in your socks? I don't know. I got holes in my socks. You don't like it? Give me more socks. They're still functional to me, so I'm not going to bother about it. That's life. But yeah, like I was saying, my parents were pretty good about only gift certain times a year, and you save up your own money, you do your own research to get what you want, you figure out what you want. So I have always I've been good about being able to save and marshal my own money. But I also get kind of antsy when I spend it. I immediately think, was that a good idea to spend that money? And then usually there's that immediately tears me up a little bit, and then for like the rest of the day or the afternoon, I have to let the anxiety just bleed out of me. No, it was a good idea. It's fine. Then a couple days later, I'm like, whatever, cool, my thing's here. Amazon's rad. I love this. Like I mentioned, I bought 4 books. I had that thought to myself. I'm like, should you really have spent like $40 to $60 on paperback books for a series you haven't even read yet just because you like the author? And I'm like, yes, me. And then I read, like I said, I read the first chapter. I'm like, yes, me. Past me did good. I felt like that when I bought Saint Courts recently for Musashi, which I still didn't get it. I got good stuff though, which is like I said, I can't be mad at the game, but it's like, no, I don't have any. Like I just bought the Kingdom Hearts thing, which will keep me entertained for weeks. I've already pre-ordered Kingdom Hearts 3. Other than basically a quote-unquote business expense later to get Extella Link, I don't have any, like, immediate needs to buy anything. I want to buy Ace Combat when it comes out, but that can wait, right? So it was just like, no, it was fine. I didn't have any sudden concerns, and it was okay. And like I said before, I made sure I paid Lucky first. I split it up, I gave him the stuff, and then I had my own share to do with whatever. So we said, I think, that it's been an hour and a half. I'm very burpy all of a sudden. I don't know why. But it's been almost an hour and a half, and we said on Let's Talk FGO we would talk about hashtag goals on this episode of What's Up.
Yeah.
So we could probably outline some things. Honestly, I just have a simple, I think we want to get to this sometime this year for the channel. Besides just we want to dial in some stuff. And I've been trying to up in some of the content I do by myself. I've been trying to up like our visual quality and make them more unique, so eventually we can get that sweet YouTube monetization, because they're still holding back on us. Those jerks. Which, by the way, I've said this before, and I actually wanted to say it, I think, on Let's Talk FGO, but we were really busy, so that's okay. But so we have 1,400 subs on YouTube, right? If every one of you out there who's subbed to us right now gave us $1 on Patreon, we'd be making almost $1,500 a month. I don't know at what point like Patreon's cut would make, so it would probably be quite a bit lower than that. But still, we'd be making decentish money. Obviously, I understand. People can't all do that, right? Like, maybe you don't have your life set up to support us on Patreon through like PayPal or whatever. Maybe you don't have a steady enough income with extra spending where you can like spare even $1 randomly, like on a month-to-month basis. Maybe you just don't feel like we're worth your money, which saddens us deeply. crushes our hearts, but we totally understand because we also live our lives that way, deciding what is worth our time and money. But just to put that in perspective, right? Like, that would be great if people supported us on that scale, and I hope that someday we'll get there. But also just watching the videos, subbing to the channel, liking the videos, that helps, because at some point, I hope that if this monetization thing or whatever doesn't straighten itself out soon, which I hope it will, because we're constantly striving, we'll see. We can reapply in 6 days. Thanks, YouTube. But I'm hoping that eventually, if it continues to be a problem, we can just get big enough that we can actually talk, because we're YouTube partners, we're just not authorized for monetization right now. I would hope at some day to eventually be able to actually get in touch with YouTube reps, because, hey, guess what? You can't do that from the start. You have to hit certain thresholds, which I don't think they announce first. So yes, I would love to get in touch with YouTube. And YouTube, if you're listening, please talk to me. Give me an email address I can talk to you at. But yeah, so just watching the videos, because YouTube sends us stats all the time every month. I get a little thing. I tweeted about this on the official channel. YouTube sent out our stats for last month recently, and I totaled it up, and based on the number of minutes, the actual number of minutes watched, like not even views or anything, but the actual minutes of our content watched, people watched over that month almost 4,000 hours of us.
Wow.
Yeah. That's astonishing, and that's super helpful, and just, when I see that number, and I run that math, I'm just like, oh my god, guys, thanks so much. Just, yeah. Wow, damn, 4,000 hours. It's crazy. I heard somewhere once that you need 10,000 hours to master a thing. Like, so 4,000 hours to me, that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys don't do it alone, you do it all together, and we hope you'll continue watching. But one of the one big, I think, milestone I want to hit for sure is, not right away, because I don't know, we'll have to like brush up our skills and figure out the right way to do it, but I think this year we will definitely have our own website.
Mm-hmm.
Our own standalone website. We can hopefully run AdSense on it on our own. We can use it as a hub to link to our YouTube videos, link to our Patreon. Mm-hmm. Hopefully put one of those little widgets on the side so you can see like the channel accounts tweets as they come up on the website and whatever, and just, give us our own space. And someday when we make money, we can actually host videos and stuff directly there, probably, but that also costs money, so probably not right away. But something. We'll figure something out this year.
Yep. There's a lot of, because that's one of the things I definitely wanted to do too, is a website, and maybe looking into the podcast hosting websites, because there are a few out there where you can just put up your podcast and people can just dial in whatever. The only problem with that is I don't think it generates revenue in any sort of way. It's just, hey, get your voice out there.
Yeah.
But
which is like, that was the reason why like we're not on SoundCloud or anything, because SoundCloud has like a pro level where you get unlimited data storage, but it costs money. And as far as I know, there's not a way to necessarily, other than selling stuff, which I wouldn't, like we say, oh, it's less than $0.25 a month or $0.25 per show if you support us on Patreon and you get the audio downloads. But I also wouldn't directly be like, and if you pay 99 cents for an audio download, right? Like it's iTunes or something. I wouldn't do that. That doesn't seem like something people would go for.
Yeah, because honestly, like, how many times are you going to listen to this podcast? It's a weekly thing. You're always going to be getting a new one, like, every week.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I think because one of the benefits of being a patron is you'll get the entire backlog, right? Like, if you weren't a patron, you can always go back and get audio downloads, like if you want to listen on the go or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and there's other stuff too. Actually, something I should mention really briefly, because I talked about reading and writing, was during the week I was sick, before I got too sick, I wrote some short fiction pieces. Not really like focused or anything, but I wrote some stuff because I'm slowly developing my Legend of the Five Rings campaign. Slowly. Sketching it out. And I had some plot hooks and stuff, which I turned into short fiction just because I felt like writing it. So I posted those 4 things on Patreon, and I set them up for early release. So any level of patron got access to those like 3 days before anybody else. But they're all on our Patreon right now, public, so you can just read them whenever. And I might do more stuff like that. I don't know. It depends. But let's see. Lucky, other than the website thing, was there any ideas you had you want to talk about in our goals?
Well, specifically on our Patreon, we should definitely specify our goals for like what level of commitment we can put towards the channel. Like, cause like right now, if I was just to make $1,000 a month, just from like YouTube ad revenue or whatever ad revenue, I could literally like just make StudiOmega my full-time job. Cause at that point I would literally get rid of my car. And if I get rid of my car, guess what? That is literally like $500 I save in my pocket like immediately. Like this is one of like the bad things about being an adult is you have to spend money so you can make money.
Yeah. You got to maintain insurances, you got to, keep places of residence or whatever. You got to be able to travel.
Yeah.
All that other stuff.
So, if this is my full-time job cuz I live in a city. Like I live in Tacoma, which is not too far from Seattle, so we have public transportation. I have friends, we have Uber. Like if I need to get places, I can like get places. I don't need a car. The only reason I maintain a car is because a lot of jobs require that you have a vehicle or a reliable source of transportation. If StudiOmega is my fucking job, I don't need that. So like yeah, one of the things I like definitely on our Patreon goals, I want to say like how much like money like if we're making I can put more towards StudiOmega. Because that's like I said, that's like my big restraint right now is I have to put my wage slave life first over StudiOmega.
Right.
So like, and of course, like because like I said this is a 2-man project and we literally split everything down the middle. It would have to be like we would have to like anything for me we would have to get doubled so that Omega will get the same amount. So honestly,
and also I think at that point where you would be if we were making enough that you would be full time, that would also be the Omega needs to move and we need to consolidate kind of thing. Which means I'd have to be about supporting myself too. Which is big. We're at just under 150 right now, but I mean,
that's
we
can 1/20th of the way.
You're that's how I like to think of things too. So we can put that goal up there.
Yeah,
and we can put stepstones to it too. I'd have to. I remember Patreon did some annoying things with the way it formats goals, so I'd have to like double check how it displays them to see if it would be worth it for some of this stuff. But yeah, we can definitely like put that. I mean, we've put it out there on Talk, but we can definitely put that out there on the actual Patreon to like track. Hey, here's how far we are towards our goals.
Yeah. Like, if we were making 1,000, I could definitely just go for a part-time job. Because if I'm making 500, I can pay rent with that, and then it would just be maintaining my cars and bills, which would probably be like another like 500. And so I could get like a 20-hour a week job, make that, and put the rest of that time into making art assets, recording my own video. Apparently people like my fucking voice.
Yeah.
I was. During the end of Let's Talk FGO, I was like, do you guys want me to sing? And like the whole, because it was one of our public episodes, and everyone just started going, yes, 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 Lucky ASMR win. I'm like, what do you people want? Are you mocking me? Am I being mocked? I feel like I'm being mocked.
No, they genuinely love you. The people are like children. They adore you.
But I can put that. So that's eventually, I want to put down goals for 1,000 and 2,000. And have people see it, because I think that's one of the things that might help us is if people will know what we are going to be putting this money towards.
Right, because we outlined that and we've talked about it before, but yeah, a constant reminder that's like, hey, this is ultimately what we're working towards. At any time, you can see here's our goals and here's how close we are. Though it does remind me, I think I joked a while back that I would, because our 100 was regular releases of Lucky Rants, which we are working on. You need to pick a rant for this month sometime. Not soon, but at some point we should throw out another one. I think I joked a while ago about making bartending with Lucky the $200.
But let's see, if I was to do like bartending with Lucky, I would actually want to make that a video series. Like a 5-minute video series where I get a camera, I buy a bunch of alcohol, and I actually make the drink for people. because that's another goal I want to put down.
Well, yeah,
is,
if you were to do that monthly, how much budget do you think you'd need for that? Like to release like 1 or 2 a month?
Let's see. Well, there'd be the initial cost, and the initial cost would be the fucking camera, like a camera and probably a tripod to set it up on. Because at that point I would probably do 3 separate recordings and then use the different angles, make transitions and whatnot and stuff. And so I would actually have to research, but if I can get a job, get back on my job, I can just save up for that on my own and make that a personal purchase, because as I said, like cameras, video cameras, not cheap.
Accurate.
But so after the initial cost, it'd be whatever the liquor would be, and whatever implements, because a lot of bartending stuff you can just reuse. Like shot glasses, and to make drinks, like I said, you get a full fucking bottle of alcohol, so make a few test runs, you can use it for different things and stuff. So honestly, but actually doing bartending videos would actually be pretty cost effective once I get off the ground. But I could depending on if I'm only doing 1 drink a month, it'd only be $60 a month maybe. Just because I'm just thinking I'd probably have to buy 2 new alcohols, 2 bottles, and they could run anywhere between $15 to fucking $60 depending on what you get. So if I I don't know. But it's something I could do and I would like to do because let's see here. Because, I like bartending. It's one of my favorite, when I had that job, I was I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I liked mixing drinks and tasting them and getting people drunk off my science. Because that's science. All, yeah. But, let's see here. But I want to know if, I want to say if we could hit the $500 goal mark, $500 goal mark, I could probably spare enough to get the camera and get things for I don't know, it could probably even be, I would actually say not monthly, but bi-weekly show.
Okay. Well, Brandon, you're shooting pretty high up there with 500.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the thing. Well, as at 500, because it'd be slashed in half to 250.
Right. So that's solid. All right. I may or may not. I probably shouldn't build these as we're going because that's
down.
But I'll figure out the actual. Text
another thing. This ain't necessarily a Patreon goal, but this is definitely an overall goal. Is hardware overalls for both of us.
Yeah, I belonged. Our audio setup's pretty good now. We have good microphones. Obviously, we can't do better, I think, until we actually get together and we can make a regular ass setup as opposed to a half-assed setup with Discord and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it's not necessarily a Patreon thing, but it's definitely something that Patreon money goes towards. Has been hardware in the past.
Yeah. Because I would like to go back to recording the video game.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I had to stop Dead Space because my computer will die randomly, and I never fucking know when.
Yeah. And while my computer's pretty serviceable, I wouldn't mind getting it newer, just because it's got an older OS. It's got some older stuff in it. It does okay for functional stuff, but I could probably use a newer, maybe a separate machine to do video captures on, rendering, stuff like that. Something, dedicated and more up to date, so we can use different softwares and stuff without, exploding, running out of CPU styles, have more memory. Because that's actually, I've noticed that I could probably trim it up some, because I know I definitely installed some Steam games while I was bored, so that's probably chewed up some of my memory. But I've definitely noticed that even though I've stopped recording Let's Plays for a while in my standard format, I've started cycling down some of my, my memory. So it's that's not great. Speaking of LPs, though, that's something I want to kind of talk about, too, with the audience, is so I'm not averse to recording more VC4. I have some ideas for how to get back in the swing, and I like the game. I'd love to complete it sometime. But the videos never did super great, and now there's been a gap. So I don't know, like, if people care enough to actually finish the series. Like, do people actually care to keep watching it? Because it never, like I said, it never swung really big. Our Extella stuff did way better. Valkyria Chronicles fell off pretty rapidly, so I don't know. I'd love to hear people's input on that and kind of get back to that, whether or not I should finish doing that series in that style. I'll just finish on my own time. I did download Soma while it was on the PS Plus store, so I will definitely at least do one video of that and maybe a whole series if it does okay, and I want to get back to Extella LPs. But yeah, that's definitely a question I want to throw out there if like people care about that series. Okay, we took a brief intermission there, but we're back. We were talking about videos and stuff we want to do. And how we want to handle them.
I kind of like, I'm not going to lie, I really did enjoy just sitting, chatting with people for like 2 hours. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. I kind of almost feel like we need to get like a streaming setup for that. Like maybe on, I don't know how much easier it is to get monetized on Twitch. Like, but like just, that seems like a good Twitch thing to just hang out, maybe casually play some games for an extended period, chat with people in chat, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Twitch has its own like levels that you gotta hit, but that's something we can look into. If like maybe I don't know, if YouTube streaming, I don't know. I feel weird about it. I don't know why.
I mean, it works for some people. It's just depending on what you're doing. It seems a little clunky to like connect everything up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've done it before, just not extensively.
Yeah. Hardware, as I like, upgrade my computer, get a video camera. That'd be good, but that's something I think will probably be more on my personal finance kind of level things, because just to like rely on monetization or patrons for that like for this year, I don't know. Like honestly, this year, like I want to, like this is like a big goal, but I want us to consolidate like sometime this year.
I would also love for that to happen. We will see if it works.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I might like start like asking around, see if like there's some situation I could work out or something. Because like I don't know, it's just I reiterate this all the time, but like literally us being separated is the major roadblock that we have to deal with in getting like higher level content.
Yeah, that unfortunately slows down a lot of our ultimate quality tweaks. Like I don't know, like well, we could definitely like that'd be a lot easier to set up cameras and stuff because we wouldn't have to worry about filming two positions. Our audio could be perfectly balanced because we would be presumably like recording from the same location into like a mixer or something. Mm-hmm. And we would also be able to see each other, so we could do like hand gestures and stuff so we know when we're speaking.
Yep.
There'd be no Discord cutting out our audio, anything like that. Yeah, it's just
but I think honestly that's like those are my big goals for the year is upgrade my hardware, get a website, consolidate, and make a living off of this, or at least like half sustain my living off of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the full 4 goals, I think. Yeah, hardware, website, consolidate, and supplemental income. There we go.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, as much as you the audience would help us out a whole bunch if like I said, if every sub on our YouTube channel gave us $1 on Patreon, we'd be like halfway to our biggest goal right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we also understand that that's not for everybody, right? And I do think Lucky's right that actually putting these numbers down and being like, here's the scope we need to hit this stuff we talk about. You know, we've talked about like that's been in our Patreon intro forever. That like ultimately the goal of the Patreon is so that we can. Yes, we do spend the money on like little things, but most of that's connected to our community anyway. Like I've bought games with the money that I could then talk about, or some even I've recorded, right? Like VC4 was funded that way, and well, I tried to turn that into a series, and you guys didn't watch. Whoops. That will happen sometimes. We'll have ideas that we think are cool, but then the audience support just isn't there right away, and sometimes it never shows up. But just I do think that showing our goals, while we've had the idea that, yeah, we want more hardware and we want to be able to pay our living expenses off this, but actually being able to show people, like, and here's about the ballpark where we think that'll work. And I say ballpark because obviously Patreon takes their cut, and, you know, like, transferring it around to, like, PayPal or whatever takes other cuts. And if we were actually making all that money, we'd have to, like, figure out reporting it correctly and all that stuff. At some point, we have to become an actual corporation, not just individuals. That's all future problems because that requires us to be taking in more than we currently are. But hopefully, like I said, explaining to people, like you suggested, will help them conceptualize what we're after and encourage them to support. But while you can support us that way, obviously just watching, liking, subbing, getting your friends to sub, whatever, you know, that's a good thing. I did say I think we should, because it's another nice run number, we should do something like, you know, another, like, open episode when we hit, like, 1,500 subs. Just because that's a good way to motivate people to maybe try and encourage that faster, you know? Or if you're not sub to our content, to get people to sub, because then you can hang out and check out stuff. Maybe you'll get hooked. Maybe you'll want to pay the Patreon fee to regularly listen into our episodes. We do also have merch. That's another thing I wanna hopefully. We put out a lot of merch stuff early, and then we kind of leveled out because we didn't get a lot of feedback on it. But we got some stuff that's sold. So I definitely want to take a look at that. Like, Teespring's adding new products all the time. Including now, like, it's funny. There's like a voting thing going on before you can pick a new product, where you can, like, vote on, like, jogging shorts and other stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, we should see if we can do some of this, just because we can do something funny. So I want to explore some more of our merch options this year, and hopefully refine some stuff. And hey, guess what, guys? Theoretically included, if Lucky gets to switch to doing this part-time or full-time, that means he can probably dedicate some time of that to art and arting for our merch. So it's not just Omega slapping text on stock images, which encapsulates a lot of our production values right now.
Like, literally, I have on my fucking desktop right now, under shit I need to draw, there are 5 entries. 1 is draw Braveliz, because I still haven't finished that. 2, draw StudiOmega avatars, because I need to get on that. 3 is a shirt design that I've had since I played Final Fantasy 15, which is a Too Fast, Too Feathery Chocobo Drift. And under that is Drunk and Divine Underworld Drift, because I think I could honestly do that. And art for the shirt of Fucking Up Your Algorithms.
Yeah.
There are things I want to draw, and I think they'd be fucking hilarious. I just do not have the time.
I assume Teespring doesn't seem to have any, like, content controls or anything. I wonder if we can just... Well, that's a question I should ask the audience. Would anybody out there buy a Fucking Up Your Algorithms shirt? Because I can make a text version of that real easy. Just, the classic background white text. If you guys are okay with that, I'll put it in the store. And then you won't buy it, and then I'll be annoyed. But yeah.
Well, because the ideas I have is I want to get my fucking rabbit avatar, I haven't, like, put that, but it's gonna
maliciously
be, like,
typing on the computer, fucking up my algorithms or something. Yeah. No, and that would, like, more brand identity like that would be great.
Yeah. That's what I want to do, but as I said, like...
That requires time and effort.
Yeah, right now I am, like, trying to keep my life from falling apart right now, so... And if I'm not trying to keep my life from falling apart, I am trying to de-stress. Man, I wish art was de-stressing for me. I really, really do. Ugh. You want to know what I've been doing to actually de-stress? Because I wanted to talk about this back when we were playing video games, but as usual, Omega goes like a fucking train station that has no fucking stops. Omega, you are now
have no brakes.
Yeah, you have no brakes. You are the expressway.
Hey, in your shit to draw, go ahead and add that.
Omega express train has no brakes.
Actually, it's funny you say that because I can't remember. I think it's because we were taking so long. I wanted to make sure we got the serious stuff out of the way. But originally, I'm guessing what you're going to talk about, I was going to transition by asking you what you've been playing lately, because I've noticed you've been playing some things.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and take it.
Omega, have you heard of Tokyo Xanadu?
I think so, yes, but that might have just been because you mentioned you were playing it.
Yeah, so back during the holidays, it was put on sale, and I had this like moment because it was like $24, but for that same price, I could have got Gravity Rush 1 and 2 for the same amount. I'm like, nah, I was like asking people, it's like, which ones are better? And people like gave me a bunch of stuff about Gravity Rush. Like, yeah, it's really good. But when I asked about Tokyo Xanadu, no one said anything. And I'm a little contrary because, yeah, like I know Gravity Rush was like a good game and stuff, but no one knew anything about Tokyo Xanadu, and that made me more interested in it. I'm like, what is this gonna be? What is this mystery? So I fucking got it, and I found out it's by the same people who do the Tales game. Falcom.
Yeah, Nihon Falcom.
Yeah.
Also, Legend of Heroes and Ys? It's Y, capital Y-S. I assume that's pronounced Ys.
Yeah. Yeah, so they do the Legend of Heroes, Trails and Skies, Legend of Heroes, Code Steel.
And specifically, we should say that you, I assume, got the EX Plus version because that's the Windows and PS4 version. It was, hey, guess what? Originally a game on Vita.
Yeah.
Where games go to die and get remade.
Yeah, because this is happening actually with a lot of games is after, like, getting condemned to Vita hell, they're coming out with new versions. Because this is what's happening with Caligula next month, which I still plan to get.
Yeah, one of us will have to get that, and may or may not do stuff for the channel eventually. Who knows? That's actually, no, that's going to derail us completely. Hold on, I'm going to put a pin in that idea. Speaking of RPGs, but keep going.
Okay, so the only thing I knew about Tokyo Xanadu is that it was kind of like Persona. Like no one really explained anything further on that. And
by the way, just since you said that, I want to read you because I wikied it obviously to look it up. There's a single line about gameplay, which is sourced to some game stuff, I guess. But it says it's an action role-playing game with party-based real-time combat that features dungeon exploration similar to the Persona series by Atlus, as well as Falcom's own Ys and Trails of Cold Steel franchises. Yeah.
So basically, how Tokyo Xanadu basically works is, I'm not going to ruin the spoiler because, the story, because the story was okay. Wasn't fucking amazing, but it was okay. It made me shed tears at the end because I beat the main story, and then they had an epilogue, and now they have an after story. This is what you get when you get the fucking EX versions. They give you a bunch of fucking stuff. But basically guy gets pulled into fucking other dimension where he has to fight beasts and shit, fight bosses, gathers a team of people who like know shit and doing shit, and there's secrets and the betrayals and all that stuff. But they do it like in Persona where this is happening in real life. There are days like you start off in like I want to say early spring, like mid to early spring, and the game ends like summer. So it's not like Persona where you go through a whole year. No, this only takes place through 5 or 6 months. But it was still fun because basically they separated each time slot into chapters. And during those chapters, you would always have something which is called like a designated free time where you can go out, buy stuff, go grind, do all that stuff. Like you would be given little tokens that you can go like unlock, like special scenes with like certain characters. But then once you were done with free time, then guess what? You're locked into the fucking story and you're going on this fucking trip. And it would have like more turns and stuff until you got to the next chapter and, they would do it again. You would have your free time. And I was thinking about it, it's like, I kind of like how they did the free time because in Persona, everything was like a fucking hard lock. If you hung out with someone, that's your time. It's gone. If you went to go train in time, that's your time. It's done. Like, you can go trip around the fucking city like back and forth all day, every day. As long as you don't actually do anything, you can do it all day. But in here, it's like no, you can go grind as much as you want. You can go like wander around as much as you want. You can go find like sub quests, special things, all that stuff. You can do all that stuff, but once you say, all right, I'm done, I'm ready to continue the story is like, all right, we'll like strap in, here we go. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. I liked it. Combat, like, you see the game and you can definitely tell. You can see it's Vita roots.
There is a style of game which is the Vita RPG, where RPGs went to die, and then it's funny though because I just looked it up, but apparently, it scored pretty well. The original release, it was well reviewed, and it was in Japan anyway. It topped software charts, so it sold well originally, but obviously market penetration for the Vita outside of Japan was just terrible.
Yep.
But because they did so good, I think that a lot of these developers have been able to like take their initial profit, and the fact that the PS4 is actually not a closed iron box of a software, unlike the PS3 supposedly was. Like, for all of its cool power and stuff, there were supposedly a lot of problems with how finicky its development was. Mm-hmm. They are able to actually adjust Vita games to play on the PS4 or even play on PC a lot simpler, so it's not cost intensive for them to re-release this in quote-unquote HD, full-size, add some extra content, bundle your DLC, whatever, and resell it to the market, who has no idea at all, because it didn't exist to them. It's like how we were when the Caligula anime started, and it was like, this feels like this is definitely a Vita game, isn't it, right? Yes, it is. I feel like we literally said that on Power Hour sometime.
Yeah. And Axe is asking how long was the normal story. I've put like 40 hours into this game, and I'm in like the last part of it. So it, like, as RPGs go, it's not that long. I mean, I could have like easily padded it out, grinding and stuff, but Tokyo Xanadu has like one of my favorite fucking functions in RPGs, which Axe would probably be interested. Like the Tales series has, is when you get done with the game, they give you a fucking new game plus. So it's like, and you can go. I do
love new game pluses.
I do love new game plus. So like you can go back through it again with like your level, your skills, and all that crazy stuff, and your items and stuff, and keep going on because they have higher levels and difficulties. So it like builds its own replay value. But as it's like, it was still like a fun game. Like I like ever since I got it, like that's all I've been fucking playing. Like I like quit like I stopped playing Dead Cells just because it's a very good game, but it has no, what's the word I want to say, resolution. There's no ending. There's none. Like all you're doing is like the same thing, and it doesn't have enough lore in it to explain what the fuck's going on. So you're just left in this constant dead air of content. All you can do is basically keep getting stronger enemies to fight and keep gimping yourself more, and it just doesn't lead anywhere. So I'm like, all right, I'm done. Celeste I was playing, but it's like at the same time, it's like I don't want to be spending all these time trying to get fucking strawberries. Okay, it's like it's fun, but dying like 20 times trying to make a single jump kind of gets grating. Mm-hmm. So that's why I bought Tokyo Xanadu. I played for 40 hours. I've kind of slowed down right now because, as I said, like I'm in the final area. I'm like, oh my god, where am I gonna go? What do? Things I gotta do. But it's super fun.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some games I want to, even though I've never ever had enough time in my life to watch the whole thing from beginning to end. I'm a huge fan of Giant Bomb's endurance run of Persona 4 that they did. It's a great video series where they go into Persona 4 basically blind, and they play the whole story, and on camera they show you a decent chunk of the grinding, and they goof up and stuff like that, and they have to reset sometimes. And they just, they get attached to certain characters and stuff. They develop their own like internal gags and references. I would love for us to be able to sit on a couch, Dream Grump style, and play some of these big RPGs in like blocks, and just run through them and like develop our own rapport, our own back and forth. One of those games I've always dreamed of us doing is Persona 5, but we might be able to do that entirely differently as an actual new experience, maybe. Because holy shit, P5R.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We don't know what P5R is yet, but it's a thing, and they announced it, and I'm vibrating. I think they said we'll know more in March, in the third month. But yeah, I'm vibrating over here. Persona 5 was like definitely the defining game I played that year, and possibly the defining game I've played since Probably Persona 4, maybe? I don't know. I'd have to check, like, I'd have to look at my list of games and be like, okay, what's left a deep, lasting impact on me? Because P5 did. Because P5 is amazing in so many ways. You know, themes, the writing, the way a lot of the characters are handled. The gameplay is super refined and tight, you know, on the Persona theme. And it just, you know, feels good. And it feels good to do. And everybody has been excited because it's one of those games that has almost like a little too much denouement, you know? Like, you do the rising action, you hit the climax, you're done. The game is done, but the action needs to fall then, otherwise you're left with no resolution. I think Persona 5 is one of those games that almost has a little too much resolution, because basically you resolve everything, and then it's like, well, now you've got to go back home, get in your van, and drive into the sunset, and Joker gives you the fucking look, and you're like, okay, that resolved, but at the same time, that doesn't feel like this is over. Yeah. It just feels like we ran out of stuff to do. But yeah, so it's one of those games that they could do like they've done in other Persona updates and like add a month or two, or add another extra couple sequences of events to pad it out. If they do new confidants, that'd be really cool.
The lawyer.
Yeah, I was about to say. Also, hey, because there's actual, I think, like date dialogue and stuff for Sae buried in the code of the game. Hey, if we could get that back, that'd be cool.
Please, thank you.
She's great, because she was supposed to originally be an actual confidant, not a story-related one. And obviously, as a story-related one, it works great. The framing device in Persona 5 is really cool. And it sets the tone. That's one of those games that I was talking about, you know, like where you're playing it and in the first 5 minutes it clicks right away. Persona 5 is that. Like, the intro to that game is like harsh and flashy, and you are like, oh, I am here now. This is what I'm doing with my life. It puts you precisely in the right frame of mind, which is the government and the adults suck. You are a cool, flashy boy, and you are gonna steal some things. Oh, and also you've been betrayed, but you better catch that traitor. But yeah, so usually, if you guys aren't familiar with it, but every Persona game, I think since 3 has had an update. 3 had both the Persona 3 FES, which added a whole basically sub game to it, which I've never beat. I've never been able to beat the answer. It sucks. It's hard. It's really hard. But that added basically a whole extra like epilogue story to kind of like turn the ending around of 3, because 3 is notoriously depressing, but that's kind of its theme. It's about accepting death. So but yeah, death is not a hunter unbeknownst to his prey. But yeah, no, like that's kind of why. But it helps the characters resolve some stuff that happens at the end of the story, which is cool. But also it adds new social links and extra time. Like you get an actual proper social link with Aigis in FES.
God, I want to play it. I guess. Oh,
yeah.
Cyberwife.
I miss Aigis a little bit.
The talented mind.
It's been since 4 Ultimax Arena, where I got to hang out with her. Where's my third Persona Arena, guys? My actual story, because you were actually continuing the story for these characters in those 2 games, which was weird, but okay. But yeah, also there was P3 Portable, where you got the whole new story, where you could play as the female player character, and had entirely different social links playing as a girl, but that was on the PSP, and thus we will not speak of it again. Persona 4 had the same thing. It got a Vita release as P4 Golden, which added a couple new social links, including a very interesting one. You could actually form a social link with Adachi, which, if you maxed out, got you a completely different ending to the game. Which is, I think, very much like one of the bad endings to P5. But yeah, no, and it added extra bosses and stuff, and dungeons and extra meta plot stuff. So if that's what P5R is just an actual typical, okay, it's been a couple years, we're going to add we've had a time to save some characters who may have been scrapped, or add some new ideas, add like a bonus dungeon for all you people who have tried really hard. I'll buy that game again. I have 200 hours in Persona 5. I'll play it another 200 hours. Give me like, even if it's just a Game of the Year bundle, like with all their DLC and stuff for their costume packs and personas and music and stuff, that's probably worth paying the $60 again. But also, hopefully, like I said, it's an actual like continuation. Like, hey, here's more content because theoretically, there's still some stuff going on. And also, yes, more confidants, do more stuff. But yeah, that's what I got about P5R.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was like, wait, no, I'm gonna put a pin in this. I don't want to cut you off from your Tokyo Xanadu story because we're gonna go off on P5. Well, we're over 2 hours, Lucky. And do you have anything else to talk about? Because I think I've covered everything I was going to talk about.
No. Let's see. Let's see here.
Anything going on with anime? You're buying light novels, whatever. Anything fun you want to talk about there?
I'm still buying light novels. Like over the holidays, because as I am completely open with my parents with my interests and shit. And so I was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? It's like, you can't ask for gift cards. I want light novels and anime. Like these ones. I was like, done. So I got the first 2 volumes of A Sister's All You Need, like the light novels, and it's really fucking good. Like, I mean, I curse my poor memory. Did you ever watch A Sister's All You Need?
No. That's a negative.
All right. As I said, like you really should, because it's a stylized perspective of the life of a light novel artist in a way that I could say that is humorous, but at the same time informative, and has a whole bunch of like fucking what's what I want to say? I want to say cameos, like nerd cameos. Like they like to play fucking board and card games in there, and they're actually real ones. Like recently when I went and bought the L5R book, I also bought Once Upon a Time, which is a card game that they actually played in A Sister's All You Need, and I'm like, I fucking love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, when you bought it, you talked about the game.
Yeah. So I got the first 2 volumes and the Blu-rays because support the things you love, and I love this anime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm desperately waiting for them to release the PDF for Emerald Empire, because I have seen some of the stuff that is in that book, and I really want to support it officially, but practically I once again don't want to order a physical copy right now.
Yeah.
But it's great. Oh my god.
I got more.
I will probably wax poetic about that as soon as that PDF release drops, because that'll be great.
Yeah. I also got books 7 through 11 of Spice and Wolf, the light novel. So I now have books 1 through 11.
Nice.
Spice and Wolf is definitely an outlier in fucking storytelling, because it's not action or oriented. It's literally, a merchant going around selling shit.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting stories, because the way most people know about it is, oh, there's a wolf girl in it, but also it's about economics.
Yeah, it is all about economics, and so it's amazing, and I love it. Eventually, I want to get the anime on Blu-ray. I am like literally slowly building up a list of like anime I want to buy. Yeah,
I've got some Blu-rays sitting in my Blu-ray specific list for like the longest time. Like, I want to get Standalone Complex on Blu-ray. I have the first season on DVD, but I want the Blu-rays, and I want to get Code Geass on Blu-ray. I could also get My Hero Academia on Blu-ray. That could be cool.
That could be cool.
Because I own a couple stuff. Like I own Eric 7 AO on Blu-ray. I own Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood on Blu-ray, which was a great buy for me, because God, I love that series so much.
Trying to support these things and get things out, and it's just nice to have. Like, honestly, like for such a long time, like I used to have really bad wanderlust, and I would like move wherever I was from like every like year or two. So I didn't keep like a lot of like physical things. It was like, all right, let me keep all this stuff digitally so I can just pack it and go. I could literally like load my entire life into a van and just go somewhere.
It's funny you say that you had that wanderlust, because having to actually as a kid move around a lot, I think that killed that for me, because I had to do that moving thing a lot, and it sucked. So
well, I think that's why I still had it, because that's how I was too as a kid. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money, so my mom would literally be like shuffled around from place to place, like living off of friends or whatever. Or honestly, I don't know how she did it, but yeah, when I was a kid, we would move like every couple years still. I would fly out a lot to see like relatives over the summer because mom didn't want to deal with me. Like when I got into the military, I got shuffled around a fuck ton. It's like I just never got attached to one place. So like whenever I felt like it was just time
so
to
I
move.
guess the thing with you is you just kept doing it as an adult, so
Yeah.
it became a habit.
Yeah.
As opposed to me, where we stopped long enough doing it, where I was like, okay, I've lived here a while now. Oh, occasionally we have to move again. This sucks. This sucks a lot. Having to pack up all my stuff, having to unpack my stuff.
Yeah, I was flying by myself at like 5 years old. That's nuts.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I mean, I sat separately, but I was traveling with people to places for a lot of my life. But I didn't fly solo anywhere until my 20s.
Yeah,
my early 20s, but still.
You know that saying, like, home is where the heart is. Excuse me. For me, home is wherever my shit is.
Accurate, because, hey, guess what? Your stuff is your heart. Your heart is your stuff.
Mm-hmm. And now I have enough stuff that I'm like, well, it's now kind of hard for me to move.
And also, maybe not home, but, you know, the place where you stay, hopefully it has a bed or a floor or a couch or something, you know, you can sleep on. I can sleep on anything. I had that conversation before we shipped out, because I was asking, okay, hold up, where am I sleeping now? Because I will sleep anywhere, but I want to know beforehand. So there was thoughts, you'll probably be on an air mattress to be like, whatever, I can be on a blanket on the floor, it just, I am sleeping somewhere, right? But no, I stole somebody's room. Which was, I almost would have preferred the air mattress. The bed was very firm, which I'm sure for small children it's fine, but for adult people, it was kind of stiff. I have a bit of a squishy bed. I have a big squishy bed.
I have a big squishy bed too.
And in fact, my bed is nothing but that, because it's like a minimalist frame, so there's no like head or footboard. It's just big mattress, bed frame, throw some pillows and blankets on top. I'm fine. I love it. I live here. Actually, when I was a kid, I had bigger beds, and I would use the spare space for storage. I would basically use the chunk of my bed that I was physically not using to sleep on as a shelf. I'd keep a cat there, and just whatever junk I had out at the time. And never really was a problem. Now, I'm too big, and I do too much tossing and turning and rolling around to store stuff on my bed. But I still like big beds. I cannot lie.
A smaller bed.
I mean, you need floor space. Yeah. Something I'm actually glad that we're recording later was that I opened up my window. I wasn't sure I was going to do that earlier because the sun was up, but it was hot and stuffy in here. So now it's good because there's a little bit of breeze coming in. But I have a big fucking front-facing window, right? Because we converted what's now my bedroom out of a home office. So I have gobs of floor space and storage, and I have a huge window that we have to cover constantly because it's on one of the sunward-facing sides in the afternoon, so it gets hot. But and I'm right up front. I'm right next to the front door. So sometimes I feel nervous about opening my window. Not that anybody's going to walk by or anything. We're at the end of like a small town street, so it's not a huge deal. Like, it's a literal dead end here. But occasionally people come down this road and they need to turn around, so they got to do that in our driveway. So I'm self-conscious a little bit, but yeah, when you have the floor space, the bigger bed is fine. The last place we lived, we did have to switch me to a smaller bed because I didn't have the floor space. Which sucked for a little bit, but I got over it. Like I said, I'll sleep anywhere. Couch, air mattress, floor, whatever. When you're tired, you're tired. You sleep. Actually, that would be a good question. I was wondering, you were in the military. You probably know how to sleep anywhere, but you were also on boats, so.
Oh yeah, no. I slept in a fucking coffin. Like literally like 6 feet, like 2 feet, like 6 by 2 by 2. I think they were. No, they were
slot in the wall.
Yeah, no, it was like 2 by 3. I want to say.
Lucky, how tall are you for record?
About 6 feet. I learned how I literally could not like extend my full self. Like anytime I jumped in, I had to tuck in a little bit.
Good old military industrial complex, one size fits all.
Yep. But yeah, so like on my I have a queen size bed. Guess what? I only sleep on half of that shit.
Yeah, I bet. Because you got used to that. But I was also thinking, on the other hand, you had a bed. Unlike, I'm sure there are some people who are going to be like, oh, I was in the army. I slept in the dirt with rocks.
Oh, no, they actually usually would have cots and whatnot.
Yeah. But there are some people who, like, even camping, they'll just sleep whenever.
Yeah.
Sleeping bag, that's a good thing to sleep in. Those are comfy. warm.
I mean, there's a couple times I've camped out and I'm just like, nah, fuck sleeping bags. I'm just gonna lay down.
I mean, I do that. I do it all the time. Where I have a very specific sleep schedule. I as a kid, and even into my adulthood, I never napped a lot. If I take a nap, it's because I am like sick or like dead tired, and my body is like, you need more sleep, and I'm like, okay, buddy, I'll sleep a little bit. I don't think I've ever taken a nap in my life where I felt good afterward. I either feel slightly better but still bad, or I feel about the same, and sometimes I feel worse. Just because, like I said, I have a very tight. My body is on a certain rhythm for sleeping schedule, and it's just like, you're screwing it all up. Now you're sleeping weird. But I lay down all the time to just be like, okay, because I'm sure I've got like sinus issues or like allergies or whatever, congestion. Mm-hmm. You could probably hear me like skrunk sometimes when I'm trying to clear my breathing so I can exist as a person. But there's sometimes when being vertical. Sometimes I even get like almost like vertigo attacks where I like feel lightheaded and feel like I'm falling over when I'm not. No. That doesn't happen a lot, but I've gotten it sometimes and it's really distracting. That's when I'm like, okay, I want to be horizontal right now. I'm going to lay in the bed and I'm not going to go anywhere. And that's fine. I don't sleep, but it helps me recover energy because my body doesn't do anything besides lie there and breathe. So I do that sometimes. What are your sleeping habits, everybody? I also, there's another thing I do. Like everybody's probably done the burrito sleep at some point in their life.
I love the sleep. I was doing the burrito sleep earlier.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Get up all those blankets. Your blankets aren't going anywhere. Sometimes I also do the mummy sleep, where I just tuck my arms in over my body and lay like straight. When I go to sleep normally,
I wasn't doing the full burrito sleep because I was like, all right, I'm just gonna take off my jeans. But like, if I like covered a blanket with my whole body, I've been too hot, so I literally just like wrapped myself in like my upper half of burrito. So if anyone had walked in with me, they would just see me with like just me like wrapped in a blanket, just my upper half with my legs just sticking out, just dead.
The mer blanket, or possibly the toga.
Yes.
Usually when I sleep though, I'm a side sleeper. It's funny, like I said, I like a big bed, but a lot of the times when I actually sleep, I like to like curl up tight, bundle up, get warm.
I'm usually a side sleeper, but I don't think I sleep. Like, I don't stay in that position. I think I move around a lot. I don't know, because I don't remember what position I fall asleep in, and I never remember what position I wake up in.
Yeah, wake up, waking up's a whole thing, so it's like, am I conscious? Am I alive now? Is it time to get up? Is somebody running around in the hallways making a lot of noise? What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. I've been asleep for how many hours? I'm gonna go back to sleep. That's usually my reference is I open one eye, I check the clock, and I mentally do the math. Somehow I can do this basic arithmetic even when I'm still half asleep and ask myself, how many hours of sleep have I gotten? If it's less than like 7 or 8, I'm like, I can sleep some more. Unless I'm like going someplace, it's like, did I sleep 8 hours? No, I can sleep more. I don't need to get up yet. But yeah, I don't know what done positions.
One thing I have done is I set up my Shuten Dakimakura so that if I wake up on my side, her face will be the first thing I see.
Nice.
That's something I did. But as I said, I can never remember what position I fall asleep in, and I never remember what position I wake up, and so I don't know if this has actually happened yet. It sucks.
I'm just my brain just did talking about no breaks. My brain just did a couple jumps. First I was like, obviously, so she's, sitting, obviously you position it sitting on the bed and you draw me like one of your French girls style. And then I'm thinking about the infamous scene from Avatar: The Last Airbender where Sokka has like the rose in his mouth. And then I jumped to, because we're still thinking about but it's a body pillow, right? So I jumped to that image I love of the L-shaped centaur body pillows. And there's that one image of the guy with a wine glass, reclining against it. Like, hello, Mr. Bond. Thank you for joining us. I love that image every time. It makes me smile. Just the idea of some guy with his L-shaped centaur body pillow. Just chilling with it, using it as a back brace, sipping some wine, dapper as all get out. And I'm like, this amuses me.
Eventually, we are going to get to that point where nerd ass shit is gonna be considered something fucking classy.
I mean, it already is in some points. We've already gone on record in saying it. When eventually we want to get an office, and we just want a dedicated like display room where we're just gonna like pile body pillows and stuff. And hey, you know, maybe it'll double as like a quiet nap room. Hey, you just need to go hang out with some pillows. Just go there and do your thing, man.
Put all our like light novels and shit in there. Books, anime books, fantasy books, sci-fi books.
There's gonna be a lot of shelves.
Yep.
We like shelves.
It's gonna be good. But other than that, I'm pretty sure we have run on a little bit too. So
we're at about 2.5 hours. It's not like Let's Talk FGO we ran on too long, but yeah, I think we've exhausted our topics. Good episode. Good to be back.
Yeah, honestly, I really didn't think too much about what I wanted to talk about this week. That's why I haven't really been like fighting for mic time.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted to mention reading just because I've been teasing that for like forever. Oh, I got some new books. I'm going to talk about them. And obviously, I want to talk about Kingdom Hearts because that has been such a trip. Just the my life now in 2019 versus my life in 2002, probably 2003 actually, when I actually got the first Kingdom Hearts and played it. It was a little bit after it came out because obviously, you know, stuff takes time to filter to you as a kid, and you don't buy anything new like right away because you have to know it's worth your money first, right? Mm-hmm. Like I'm sure I bought Kingdom Hearts 2 right away because I was like, yes, I want more. But the first one I was like, what is this? And then it was like, oh my, as like, you know, a 9 or 10-year-old or whatever, or would I have been 10 or 11, probably about then when it came out. And
what is time?
Like,
I don't even fucking know. What is age? It's just a number.
Little 11-year-old Omega was like, this is my childhood. And now I'm like, yeah, you're right. This is still collectively my childhood because not only is the stuff in this game my childhood, like seriously, oh my god, even then, but especially now playing like 100 Acre Wood. God bless the syndication of the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. We VHS that shit when I was young, and until the era where we no longer physically had VHSs in our house, which was quite a long time. That videotape kept me alive in some periods of my life. Like, you know when you're sick and you're like, you can't do anything and you just want to veg and relax? I always did that with, like, TV a little bit. Nowadays, I watch YouTube where I, you know, try and cram some Netflix and stuff. Mostly keeping me alive right now has been Rando Funhouse compilations, and I've been chewing my way through some Pro Jared videos I've already watched, like his Magic Chandelier series, which is always kind of funny to watch. But when I was a kid, it was stuff like that tape of like almost all of the episodes of like as many episodes as we could fit on a VHS tape of the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, lovingly animated by Disney, and just so that was already my childhood going into Kingdom Hearts the first time, and now it's like, ooh, this is a hard hitter, just because the music is so lovingly rendered, right? It's why I love The Nightmare Before Christmas Worlds, because, God, I love that movie so much. That movie was super formative for young me, too. The blending the, like, childlike wonder of Christmas with, like, the ultra-goth, extra theatricality of Halloween, right? Mm-hmm. That was so me at that time period in my life when I started watching that movie. Because, like I said, you know, I think we've both said this. We were both a little smart growing up. That sometimes made us a little bit cynical about stuff because, you know, you kind of you see past the man in the mirror kind of thing. You understand what's going on. So like cool dark stuff. And also as a kid I always loved Halloween because my mother was always really good about trying to make whatever costume idea I had work. So I've been like a vampire sometimes. I was an astronaut once complete with paper mache helmet. We made the visor out of a 2-liter bottle we cut in half, and there were like tubes and stuff coming out my back. I was covered in old clothes we spray painted silver. I was a Star Trek original series Romulan one year, complete with ears, which we recycled the next year because I think the next year I was an elf with a rapier, and we actually dyed my hair green a little bit. So yeah, like Halloween was always like super exciting for me, and obviously Christmas is like a thing in our culture. So bringing those two together is great, and just the constant "this is Halloween" in the background is like, yes, this is good. I could talk about Kingdom Hearts for as many hours as I've played Kingdom Hearts, which is a lot. So I won't, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything because I don't want to. Because I want this train to actually stop.
No, we're done. We're ending it. I'm going to cut it off now. I'm not going to talk anymore. Lucky, are you going to talk some more?
No.
Okay. Hey, if you like this video, give it a like. That's really important to us, and it helps us out. And it's really cool of you to do. And it makes us feel better, and it makes you feel better. Also, if you have any comments about any of the nonsense we have talked about, people are usually very good about giving us comments, and we love comments. And comments and feedback are very important because nothing changes or is acknowledged without your commentary. If you don't tell us how you feel, we don't know. We're not fucking psychic. So please leave your comments there. You can also check out our Discord, that link is in the description, where you can talk about literally anything with us. Any time. You can get a hold of us. You can yell about memes, about Fate Grand Order, about video games, whatever. Get some anime recommendations, you know. Chat up Lucky about what light novels you should buy. Stuff like that. It's real fun. It's a fun place. Also, if you have not already, and you are still here after 2.5 hours, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps us out, and it's also the best way for you to keep track of our videos. And of course, even if you are already subscribed, don't forget that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video, because, as we like to say, you never really can be sure. And of course, like it says at the front of the episode, consider supporting us on Patreon. Not only did we give you lots of other reasons to do it, but you can also get this show in audio format right away after it's been recorded for your download to listen to at your pleasure for as little as $1 a month. And it would also just really help us out in lots of ways that we talked about. And that's what's up, everybody. Usually I let Wucky try and say something pithy or funny at the end there, but he's not talking anymore, so we out. Mic drop. Clunk.